Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, AJ Dabonsa is a wizard. He goes number one. The Jazz grab Darryn Peterson at number two and leave Cameron Boozer for Memphis at number three. Here's the reaction from the guys. The pick goes down. PK, Jake Scott, Tim Lacombe, Scotty G. Here they are as the Jazz learned that they are getting Darryn Peterson.
Jazz Draft Roundtable live from JCW's in South Jordan. Come on by and see us. Scott Gerard, Patrick Kinahan, the coach, Tim Lacombe, Jake Scott as the Jazz with the number 2 pick in the NBA draft take Darryn Peterson. We are hoping to have Darryn Peterson on the air sometime tonight, so stay tuned for that. We had Austin Ainge. We aired his availability live, which was certainly a nice thing to do, and we'll keep the picks coming. Currently on the clock still the Atlanta Hawks. So in fact I don't know if they've already picked it or are about to pick. In fact, let's throw to it.
The 8th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kingston Flemings from the University of Houston.
Again, chalk, Coach Lacombe. We're seeing all these guards come off the board just like we expected.
Yeah, we talked about it today. There, after the first 4, it was kind of going to be a race for point guards. And I was just curious the order. Tonight we saw it. Wagler went first. Brown, Acuff, and now Flemings. I would imagine if everything stays chalk that we're looking at Nate Ament next.
I'm surprised we haven't seen those clubs that have multiple picks move up a little bit. Somebody like Oklahoma City, maybe we'll actually start to see some trades for, I don't know, teams moving up for need.
Yeah, I expected there to be a lot of trades tonight, and I guess the one thing you never know is a pick's made and then you hear about it after. So, I mean, we got to hold tight on making sure that some of these are going to stay where they're at, but so far it looks like that's what it is.
Kingston Flemings is an interesting selection there for Atlanta. I think he has a chance to. Again, when you look at players that have an opportunity to come in and be good defensively, but also just crazy playmakers, Flemings really fits that mold, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, if you can play for Sampson, you can play for me. And I think this kid is. He was a guy that was brought up, I think, by Matt Babcock the other day when he had him on. I just said, who's a guy that you think will punch above his weight? And he said Flemings, for all the reasons that you would think playing for Sampson. You're going to be well-schooled. You're going to be put in pressure situations. And just like they did, you're going to play in huge games.
This is cashing in on that pick they got from New Orleans last year when the Pelicans traded
the Dumars.
The Dumars, the unprotected pick. So Atlanta lands a guard, and I honestly think I wonder Quinn Snyder needs to start making some waves. He's been in Atlanta for basically 3.5 years now, going into his 4th year. I wonder when expectations will ramp up for him a little bit, but who knows? Maybe this is somebody, Scotty, that makes C.J. McCollum a little more expendable there in Atlanta. I'm not sure. I will tell you, I am happy that we're not talking about the Jazz drafting one of these point guards.
Well, I mean, honestly, you saw Sacramento picking at 7 and getting a good player at Acuff, but the Jazz were a coin toss away from being in that 7th pick.
Yep.
And it just shows you that finally the Jazz were due a little good luck, and the basketball gods kind of smiled upon them on that one, because if that thing goes tails instead of heads or whatever it was, we're talking about the Jazz scrambling to try to find somebody at 7 and, who's a good fit. And now you're drafting for need instead of, best player available, blah, blah, blah. The fact that Darryn Peterson has fallen to the Jazz and Ace Bailey has fallen to the Jazz in back-to-back drafts. This team's ready to go. This team is not and PK, I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts. This is not a play-in team next year. This is this is a bona fide squarely in the playoffs, and that should be the expectation day one.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that, Scotty. We don't know what's going to come with other rosters. There's moves to be made coming up next month, so we'll have to see about that. But right now, if you want to go high, why not 3rd? Why is that outrageous?
I don't think it is. Not in the West. Not right
we'll have
now.
to see what moves the Lakers make and what not. But, Denver seems to be on the decline. That's according to Jokic himself in his final comments. We know we've got the other two teams at the top there in OKC and San Antonio. We understand that. But who's ready to jump into that spot? If things come together, I'm not saying I wouldn't, to go Scotty, I wouldn't Sorsby it. But I would think that it's a possibility. And I would never say that, but I heard Scotty say it while I was eating my free hamburger.
Fill me in on that. I'm missing it. I'm just kidding. We all know what a Sorsby is.
If Scotty says it, we can all run with it.
Right. I mean,
is that the rule now?
We call him Kenny Rogers not because he can sing. No. It's because he's the gambler.
Who, me? No, I've never.
He flinched like he did when they said Anisette.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Anessa?
This is completely out of the blue.
I got to tell you, I would pay good money to see Scotty do the little karaoke.
We're going to get the karaoke machine on the old station barbecue.
Is that going to happen?
We're going to make that happen.
We get to hear those pipes croon something?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Oh,
PK and I are working on Endless
I
Love.
figure about 1 a.m. the police will be called.
No, before that, when you start
in that neighborhood,
when you start singing at 8 o'clock, it'll sound like they got to put an animal down. We've all heard you sing.
Come on.
Sorry, I digress.
I do love PK's greatest hits. That gets rolled out every now and again.
Love me do. You know I love Darryn Peterson.
I love the pick, guys. I'm telling you, I love the pick. Jake and I are going to get paid back for 4 years.
Well, you guys deserve it. Yeah.
Like going into every game with that lineup, and you guys said it with Will Hardy being able to say, which one of these guys we want to pick on tonight, and then just do it.
Let's go to the Mavericks pick.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Morez Johnson Jr. from the University of Michigan.
Still not a lot of surprises in the draft yet, Coach. Now we're getting to the point where maybe we'll see Mara possibly from Michigan. Maybe we'll see a team trade up to get that. But so far, very little movement in the draft tonight.
So how about that? You got the new coach of the Dallas Mavericks selecting one of his former guys.
It feels like Rick Pitino when he took the Boston job.
And so they got a picture of Dusty May over there like, hey, you know what? I'm celebrating my player and also welcoming my player all at the same time. So double dipping.
You think that's going to work, Tim?
No.
Those are always interesting. I have heard great things about Morris Johnson. I've heard he is actually a guy, that it will definitely outplay where he's picked. He was supposed to be about 13, so he did jump a few spots, but it's going to be unique because everybody else in that locker room doesn't have that same relationship. So you have to work hard to make sure we're all on the same page.
Pass the ball to Cooper.
Yes.
I mean, that's the easy.
Or let him pass it to you, yeah.
Just don't mess with Cooper, Morez.
What do you think of Dusty May, head coach?
Wow, what a meteoric rise. Is there ever in anything like this that you can think of? 4 years ago, down in no man's land, Florida, with Florida International, Final Four. And that was 4 years ago, right?
Less? Yeah.
And then Michigan sucked before he got there. And I realize the transfer portal has changed everything, but it's changed everything for everybody. Mm-hmm. And Michigan has the resources, but yet to get them where he got them and where he was in just a short time, now he's with the Mavericks. This guy is the classic strike while the iron's hot. And so far the resume, but is there a big track record of college guys succeeding? Pitino's a great college coach, but he sucked.
Terrible.
Not so much with the Knicks, but with the Celtics, to where he uttered the famous line, McHale, Bird, Parrish, not walking through that door, that we repeat all the time. So anybody else jump at you guys?
The list is short. We talked about it on our show this week. Larry Brown, and it's a long time ago.
But Larry Brown was
right.
Was he a college coach? He was just a coach.
He was a college coach first, and then went up. Then the other ones on there were Billy Donovan and Brad Stevens.
Billy Donovan, yeah.
So it hasn't been done a bunch.
But has Donovan really had a lot of success?
No, he hasn't.
No.
But he was able to outrun the posse.
He did stay employed. You got me there.
Yeah.
That's part of the gig, dude.
I know.
Outrun the posse.
Oh, yeah. I once had a coach tell me that Idaho State was a great job. You know the guy. I'll tell him off the air. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, that guy has been there for 8 years, and they never win and they never fire him. That's a great job.
It's true.
Yeah.
I guess it's all paradigm, baby.
Yeah.
Just pay me.
There was a guy at Utah.
Just Just get that money and, don't be in the sports headlines. Don't be in the news headlines, and you'll be all right.
I guess Dusty May is so young enough, if it doesn't work, and go back to college.
He could go 0-82 next year and get fired and have any job he wants.
Who was
in
the
college.
other the old guy from Michigan?
Oh, John Beilein.
Yeah, and Tark.
He made a beeline for out of the NBA in about a year.
That's very good. I like that.
That was a very bad hire.
Terrible.
Yeah. And the guy who thought that he was in line to get that job ahead of Beilein, you know who it was?
Yeah, I told you on the air about that. It was Alex.
Yeah, it was Alex.
Oh, yeah,
I had a
Yeah.
long conversation with Alex about that very
because he
thing.
was the coach of the year in G League that year.
He was with the Jazz.
Oh, it was the Jazz. Okay.
And the GM wanted Alex, and he got overruled by the owner.
Mm-hmm.
You can think of who was the guy who took over for Phil Jackson with the Bulls. He was terrible.
Tim
Floyd. Even former Ute coach Larry Kraskowiak went from Montana and went and coached the Bucks, and that went so badly.
Season.
I think it only lasted 1
Remember
year.
Mike Montgomery from Stanford?
Oh, when he went to the
Warriors.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, that was mind-boggling when that came out. It's like, he's doing what?
Do you remember when Oh, no, he never did.
It's rumored that that Beilein in that first meeting, he pulled out fiddlesticks, and he's like, gents, I want to teach you an old-time game. It's going to teach you patience and resilience.
We will pass the ball 4 times before anybody takes a shot.
By the way, the Milwaukee Bucks now on the clock for the 10th pick, so we'll see which way the Bucks go. So far, no big trades in this draft. Everything going somewhat according, especially the top. Obviously, A.J. DeBonsa going 1 to Washington, and Darryn Peterson going number 2 to the Utah Jazz. We're hoping to have a chance to talk to Darryn Peterson at some point tonight, get him on the phone for an interview. We already did hear from Austin Ainge. Also, Ben Anderson is on the ground for us in New York. Maybe we'll get a little bit of his availability back, and we'll get that on the air as well when it comes. But a banner day for the Utah Jazz, picking up a big-time player with the number 2 pick. And I do like it. I feel similarly to last year, Scotty G, but, for the Jazz not to be scared off by what Ace Bailey's camp was doing before the draft and just to go ahead and pick their guy. I think you can say a little bit about the same here, with all the did he work out, did they meet, where did they meet, all this stuff. And the creatine cramps to not get distracted by, should I take Carlos Boozer's kid, or do we trade up to get the BYU guy, to just do the kind of, I think, bold thing, not to overuse the word, but stay in your pick and pick who you think the best player is.
Yeah, and look, there was a lot of people out there talking about, the Jazz might move up to 1. That was never a conversation.
No.
It never happened. I mean, maybe Washington called like, hey, would you be interested in hopping in? No, we'll get back to you on that. Click. That may be the gist of the conversation between those two. But honestly, I think the Jazz always had Darryn Peterson, number 1, on their board. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall and see who number 2 was, because it may not be A.J. DeBonsa. It could have been Cameron Boozer at number 2.
Sacrilege.
I know, right? I think the
Those
Jazz...
Aggies are just looking for any chance they can to poke the bear.
Jab.
That's why I don't like them.
Nobody does. It's us versus the world.
Who was the Aggie you guys were having a showdown about on the air for our college football roundtable? What was that all about? When things got heated between you two? Not that I want to bring up that back.
Between us?
Yeah. In the football roundtable, you don't remember that?
At the other JCWs.
The other JCWs. Yeah. I don't know. You guys are
Legit
getting after
heated
it.
or like PK
it was,
dick heated?
Was it about the Aggie quarterback?
Oh, he's slamming BYU, and I had to defend him.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what
I'm
it was.
sure that's what it was.
It was. I remember it now. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember, and he was bigger then, so I was a little more nervous.
It certainly made me uncomfortable listening to it, I'll tell you.
I don't know if I can yank you out of the HR room anymore.
I know. I was glad you were fat then. Save my gig.
All right, we have the pick for Milwaukee. They've selected Braden Burries out of Arizona. And Coach, there's a guy I know you were thinking highly
Solid.
of.
Love him.
Love him?
Yeah.
Solid, huh? That's not a glowing. Is that just because he's a Wildcat, or no?
I think he's solid. I mean, you got to remember where you're drafting the kid.
Yeah.
It's a little later. I don't foresee stardom, but watching him play a number of times, I'm thinking like, this sounds negative, but I don't mean it. Like a poor man's Drew Holiday, maybe a little less than Drew Holiday, but solid. And I think the world of Drew Holiday.
Do you think if this was last year's draft, Braden Burries would be top 5? Top 6?
Last year's draft. Huh?
I think he would.
I have to go back and review all of last year's picks. I don't know, because last year's draft was pretty good, man. The top 5, Flag, right. Harper, Edgecombe, Con Knipple, Ace. So
that's why I said 5 or 6, yeah.
Not 5.
No.
Hey, I want another argument between you two.
I know. I think we should light that fire.
I don't even remember this.
I'm surprised. It was heated.
I'll tell you why I like Burries. He scores so easy. And I look for guys with the it factor. Like in the drafts we've done together, Jake and I, like a guy that stood out to me, he's on the market right now, Trey Murphy III, who I just absolutely love his game. Okay. But I just look for it, and this kid, to me, I watched him play a couple times, big moments. He just seems to have it.
Well, and PK is going to roast me this because I'm bringing up Utah State, but the Aggies were in that game against Arizona, and Burries was the one that put his foot down and said, "No, we're done here."
That big.
Well, I mean, if they didn't get a 9 seed, they would have gone to the Final Four.
Obviously,
I never said that.
Somebody else applied
I think a head coach
he's in
said that.
Ohio.
Yeah.
As if he got a 7 seed, he would have signed a long-term contract.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, they gave me a 9 seed, so I have to leave.
Hey, what day is it? Okay, I still got to be Utah State. Okay.
All right, there's the reaction. Darryn Peterson joins the guys next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Darryn Peterson, the number 2 pick in the NBA draft, joining Jake Scott, Tim Lacombe, Patrick Kinahan, and Scotty G after he was drafted.
Let's get out to the zone phone. Joining us now, the newest member of the Utah Jazz, the number 2 pick in the 2026 NBA draft, Darryn Peterson, with us here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Darryn, congratulations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
When you met with the Jazz in your hometown, what were those conversations like, and what were your impressions of that front office that made the trip out there to talk to you?
Yeah, it was a great conversation. They were just showing me the stuff that they have in store in the future and how I could fit in with the team, and it went well. And I'm looking forward to it. And you said, ask me the second part again one more time. I'm sorry.
No, that was exactly what I wanted to hear, because I know the Jazz really wanted to get some FaceTime with you, and I guess that gives you a lot of comfort level knowing that you had a chance to chat with them.
For sure, yeah, it was huge that they came out and saw me, and I respect that a lot, and it's good to spend some more time with those guys outside of Chicago.
So you didn't go number 1, Darryn. How much will you use that as motivation to show that you should have been number 1, and you will prove that at the NBA level in the coming months and years?
Yeah, I'm super motivated by it. But it's behind me now. I can't go back and change anything, but now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career. And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Darryn, you know, through the process, we love that here. You keep singing that music, and you'll have a bunch of fans, even more fans. Hey, but the question I have for you is, how hard was the process? You're not you've said it. You're kind of a guy that likes to be alone, and not being in the fanfare. How hard was this process going through it with everything that it requires?
Yeah, it wasn't hard at all. And I kind of used the wrong words when I said I like to be alone. Just during that process, I was spending some time alone because I feel like I had to go within and try to figure out what was going on. And once I did, now I'm back to me, a family guy, a guy that loves to be around people. I got 3 siblings, so I'm the oldest and all that. So I think I'm a cool guy. So I'm ready to go be that guy, be the face of a franchise.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with all of the Jazz roster, but know you're familiar a little bit with Keontae George, and you talked to the front office. Yep. How do you think your game fits on this team?
I think, like you said, with Keontae, we're 2 dynamic guards, and I think we'll be one of the best backcourts in the NBA early. And then we have Lowry and Jaren Jackson and Walker, and I know Bryce Sensenberg went to Ohio State, Ace Bailey, so I know a lot of the guys, and I think we'll all complement each other's games well.
Your plans are to go to Summer League next week here in Salt Lake City, correct?
Yep, for sure.
Darryn, most guys who are drafted second are going into a losing situation, a team that's rebuilding. This team has reloaded and is ready to win, and you're going to have to find a spot on this team. Nothing is going to be guaranteed. How much does that mean to you to go to a winning team and then try to find your way to make playing time?
it means a lot. I want to go to a team where I can win now, and I think Utah gives me an opportunity to do that. So I'm prepared to go in there. And like you said, my spot isn't going to be given to me, and nothing's been given to me throughout my whole life. So I'm prepared to go in there and do what I got to do to be on the court.
Darryn, your experience at Kansas, just there a few months and a lot of ups and downs, but generally just kind of your experience there and what you learned from it.
I had a great experience, obviously the ups and downs, but that's a part of the game. And I enjoyed every part of being in Kansas, and I picked there 1,000 more times if I could go back. But it's behind me, and I'm feeling great.
Well, Darryn, this is a huge night for you, so we can't thank you enough for giving us a few minutes to come on and introduce Salt Lake City to you a little bit. We can't wait to see you when you get to town.
For sure. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Darryn. We appreciate it. There you go.
Oh, he connected with PK.
Darryn Peterson.
He got the head nod.
PK couldn't have scripted a better answer than that.
Not going number one will provide a chip on his shoulder throughout his career, not just against one guy, I wonder who that guy is, but the whole league. I'm ordering my 22 Jazz jersey tonight.
There you go. How do you get PK's buy-in? Bitterness.
Angry and bitterness.
So it's so funny. It's so funny because all that stuff came out last week, and I must have got 10 to 15 texts from people saying, can we really take a guy with an attitude like that, right? No. And all we're doing is just reading what other people say about these guys. 2 years in a row now where that interview, that guy, I'm telling you, sounds ready to go, sounds excited to be here. And we just have to remember this is a process. Scotty and I all week, for a couple weeks, don't take it personally. But, man, he said it, to be able to come to a team that's pretty much formed now and he can come find his way without all the pressure of having to be the guy from day one. Pretty awesome.
I liked him clearing up, too, Coach. You asked him about how he's a little bit of an introvert maybe. And I like how he cleared it up and said, hey, I didn't communicate that well. That's not really what I'm about. And he said, he's about family and relationships and those sorts of things. I like that he's going to be a little vocal and give a little pushback on that narrative and we all know this being in the media. I mean, sometimes these narratives come out of nowhere and sometimes they're just people making assumptions. So good for him. Give a little pushback. Say, no, that's not really what I'm all about.
He said, I'm a fun guy. I like to have fun, family, and I don't know. We have fun and family out here. Guys, it's the summer of us.
And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Oh, there you go.
You had me at hello.
Come here, big guy.
Yeah.
That's PK's
Brothers
guy.
Don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Oh, man. You got two dudes connected with the ultimate chips on their shoulder. It was awesome.
By the way, shout out to Derek and the communication staff there for the Jazz for getting Darryn Peterson on the phone with us. Pretty cool.
Good job,
Derek. That we get a chance to talk to him. Not even an hour after the Jazz drafted him. So shout out to the Jazz communications team for that. Appreciate it.
I love the conversation about, look, you are in a golden situation. You may not have gone one, and you won't have that title you get to have next to your name, but you're also not stuck in the Siberia of the NBA when it comes to winning and a stable organization. AJ is going to deal with that. And he'll get stuck out there, and he'll immediately have to be the face of that franchise. He'll immediately have their wins and losses are going to be judged on him, and that's a tough thing to handle with a team that has a dysfunctional organization as much as they are. Here, you got Darryn Peterson, elite level talent. And he gets to come into an organization that's ready to win right now, that's got good pieces in place. He'll have a rim protector behind him so he can be uber aggressive defensively on the perimeter, and he can come in, make shots. He'll have a elite point guard, a young up-and-coming point guard right next to him, and this is going to be really, really fun to watch. And by the way, Oklahoma City just may have made a pick, a reactionary pick. A Wimby counter. As Mara.
Taking a day of Mara, and we did miss at 11. Yaxel Lindenborg goes to the Golden State Warriors. So right now the Miami Heat, which I believe this pick goes to Milwaukee, right? And number 13, they're going to be on the clock. But, yeah, I think OKC took Mara at 12 as a reaction to Wemby. But we talked about this earlier, I think they're going to lose Hartenstein.
Wow.
I do
and
too.
So this might be a pick to pick his replacement. at center, which might be a wise pick. And they didn't even have to trade up to do it. They got him at 12, which is a little bit of a surprise.
Right. I mean, a lot of people thought they'd couple picks and get, but must have got intel he'd be around, and that was the guy they were in on.
What's that, Christian? You want to throw? All right, we're going to have a chance to hear from AJ DeBonsa in a second.
Sorry about that. One thing Darryn said was that I think registered. I was actually looking it up. I mean, you get him going with Keontae George, the Keontae George we saw last year, who made a major jump, and you are talking about a top 10 backcourt in the league pretty early. I mean, you start thinking about it, the way the teams have lost pieces, and I think you're looking at a team that could have the possibility if this kid could live up to the billing. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And then to have the front court that you've got and the rim protection and the shooting, man, this is an incredible job of a rebuild, my friends.
Took a bit, but we're here.
Yeah,
suddenly it seems worth it.
It does. And, it was one of those situations where, it's like that Adam Sandler movie when you want to hit the remote and just fast forward to the good stuff, the fun stuff. Well, that's Jazz fans. You had to endure it. You had to deal with it. But now it's here. And I can't imagine what that place is going to be like on opening night because the expectations are going to be very, very high with that squad.
Jake and I needed that remote.
Yeah, right.
We could have used it a couple nights.
We certainly could have. Thinks that, just to take off on what you guys are talking about, thinks that he and Keontae George can be one of the best backcourts in the league pretty quick. And honestly, Ace Bailey might have something to say about that. I think the internal competition is actually going to be something that's healthy and good for all those players. I mean, Keontae took a huge step last year, but he still needs somebody to push him a little bit, and doing it against on a team that's not trying to win, it has a little fake to it. So come in, and now you're going to have to earn your spot.
100%, yeah. I mean, competition, it's what it's about. We coaches say that all the time.
And Will Hardy's specifically about it because, he's going to go to Ace Bailey and say, hey, look, you know what? Had we not drafted this guy or, Boozer was the only one available, you would have been starting. But now, Darryn Peterson is going to battle you for that. And so that's for Ace. And then you got Darryn Peterson saying, I can play a 1 too. And so you go to Keontae like, hey, you better, that jump you made from year 2 to year 3, you better be ready to make another jump from year 3 to year 4 if you want it, especially with that max contract coming your way. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot on the line here for a lot of these players, and it's a wake-up call because not only did you get better, but you got guys that can play a lot of different positions.
Oh, that's the best part. But that's what the general theme of the roster is, as I look at it. I mean, if you want to go big, you can go big. You want to go small, you can go small. You're always going to have an advantage out there with your height to be able to play through guys. But, the guys on the contracts for next year as of right now, Markkanen and Jackson, Bailey, Conchar, Williams, George, Mihailuk, Filipowski, Sensabaugh, Collier, and Darryn Peterson. Pretty good.
One of those is not like the other. Yeah.
Man, Svi's going to have to beat out a lot of guys to start this year.
Hey, but he's got you got to remember how well
last year.
He just smoked everything. He was so good last year. And that's a guy, again, you want his situational guy? Got that too.
I mean, look, like I said, Will Hardy made Svi a good NBA player. Imagine what he can do with Darryn Peterson.
By the way, did we miss that? We didn't talk about that when we were listening to Austin Ainge. Did he say that Will was not there because he's at a wedding?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bad timed wedding.
Don't tell me about it. 3 years ago, I had to go to a reception on draft night.
Yeah, sorry about that.
He and Ryan both had weddings that night.
Yeah, wonder if it was the same wedding.
No, I do know that Ryan's was family.
Oh, okay.
And Will traveled, so.
Well, there you go.
Will travel. I will say that Austin Ainge traveled to Canton, Ohio to meet with Darryn Peterson. Yeah, he'll be traveling again in about 20 years to Springfield, Massachusetts with Darryn Peterson.
Well, they'll both get a plaque.
Yeah.
PK with these predictions.
Man,
the last 22.
It's easy to throw 20 years down the road when you're, dead, sundowning, and you don't have to be accountable to it. We'll put it on your
sundowning. Come on, what are we talking about here?
I mean, he's on the end. He's on the end of his rope.
I'll have a medicinal card. I'll be fine.
All right, coming up next, Austin Ainge reacts to the draft pick, and the guys react to Austin Ainge. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Austin Ainge uses the number 2 pick in the draft on Darryn Peterson out of Kansas. All right, what did Austin think? Why did he do it? He met with the media, and the guys react. Scotty G, Tim Lacombe, Jake Scott, PK, here they are on the Zone.
Austin Ainge, his media availability is going on. Let's throw it down to that.
A huge part of us in the short term and the long term. We're really excited to add him. Had a chance to talk to him a minute ago, and he's super pumped. And Coach talked to him, and we're really excited.
Also, on lottery night, were you thinking, I hope Darren's there at number 2?
I don't want to do that because it kind of affects everyone else. I'll just say that there's a lot of good players in this draft, and it was a hard decision, but we're so thrilled to have Darryn, and he definitely fits us super well, and he fits pretty much everywhere. He's a really good player, but I think particularly our roster, it really goes well.
What do you think?
Before you talked to him tonight, when was the last time you talked to him?
We went out and met with him last week, and we went to his hometown. We went to Canton and hung out with him, and talked about our team and our program and how he would fit. And he shared how excited he would be to be with us if it went that way on draft night. He even was nice enough to stop in the middle of he's getting a bunch of new ink on his arm. You guys will see. He's a big movie guy, so he's got a lot of movie characters on his arm now. He was showing us that, so that was kind of a fun little meeting with him, and we talked about his family and what we would do if he ends up with us, and we all left very excited about the possibility.
You talk about fit. What do you think he adds to this roster that maybe was missing before?
He's just a really talented player, and the thing that we like most about him is for a 19-year-old, he feels very complete. He can drive left, he can drive right, he can shoot off the catch, he can shoot off the dribble, he can guard, he can play pick and roll, he can play off the ball. It feels like he can help all of our other talented players in a lot of different ways.
There's a lot of questions just about his health, kind of in the lead-up of the draft. Obviously, cramping issues, the lingering hamstring injury. Where do you guys feel like he's at in terms of just the health process and your evaluation of that? He's
been working out twice a day, every day, and he feels great. And when he did show me his tattoo, he looks stronger already. He's been working pretty hard. Our doctors went through everything from the combine and all the tests that were ordered, and we feel very comfortable, and he's ready to hit the ground running. We plan on seeing him in Summer League.
Are there any health issues that haven't kind of come to light yet that we need to know about him?
Nope.
Last year you had 5 and 21. This year just number 2, so you probably dove extra deep on way less guys this year around. Was there anything that maybe surprised you with Darryn in the whole process?
I would just say that when you can go as deep as we did in this process, you get limited amount of interaction with the player himself, and that's the case with all these guys and all the draft ranges. But you get a sense for what their coaches think about them, and it was great. I mean, Darryn got rave reviews from all of them. They speak a lot about his family and how solid and normal feels almost like an insult, but it's a positive thing in the sense. They just say he's just a really well-raised, really respectful, hardworking young man. And one thing that showed up a lot was just his work ethic and his confidence, his kind of quiet confidence, not scared of the moment, even though he's a quieter person.
What were the conversations like with Will in terms of how Darryn can fit into the team's style of play? Yeah,
I mean, I think Will has been really excited about this. He's because Darryn fits all the plays in the playbook, right? He like I said, he is a well-rounded player, and there really isn't anything that he can't do. Obviously, he's 19 and he's got a lot of work to do, and we're gonna try to help him get as ready to win ball games as we can by opening night. But he doesn't have a glaring weakness. He just needs to keep getting better at everything.
What are the thoughts or feelings about him playing, whether it's the 1 or 2 or a combo guard, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I think the playoffs and most games show us you need lots of guys that can attack and handle. And I think that position is probably better defined now by defense than offense. We talk about LeBron, Luka. What are they? They're point guards on offense and 3s or 4s or 2s on defense, and it doesn't really matter what you call Darryn. He's going to run a lot of pick and roll. He's going to come off screens. He's going to come off handoffs, just like a lot of our other players in our offense. So he can do everything, and we'll just see how it expands and how it fits within the group and the best way to use him early. And maybe 3 years from now, there's even more ways. And but we're really excited to throw him in all these situations.
Do you remember the first time you saw Darryn play?
I don't. It all kind of blends together. I mean, I'm trying to picture, like, we were rewatching film last week, and I knew I was going crazy when I could, like, predict what was going to happen in each possession. And it was just like, I'm so tired of watching all of this, So, but I mean, I've seen plenty of high school games, plenty of high school all-star games. I don't remember the first one, to be honest with you.
Walk me through the Canton trip. Why was it so important for you guys to kind of get that FaceTime with them, and what was it like just being there with him in his own time?
We felt really comfortable with him in the combine, and we had been in great communication with his group and talking about everything. We just wanted to be a little extra sure, right? And we have the time. With only the number 2 pick, we were not doing tons of draft workouts, and so let's just go out and see him and see where he's from, get to know him even better, and just make sure that if we ended up with him on draft night, that we have the best plan from day one.
So who's we? Like to see him?
Myself, Avery Bradley, Danny Ainge, and Justin Zanuck. Ryan and Will were both in weddings. Couldn't make it, but we went, and they called them, and like I said, we've been in contact throughout. And Ryan and Will were both at the combine and talked to him there. So we've all had a chance to talk to him.
Austin, some years it's pretty clear who the number 1 guy is, or the number 1 and 2 guys, but there was really good talent in this draft. When did you really decide on your board and come to a conclusion where you knew who you wanted to take as number 2 pick?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? Like, it's a group and it's a team. This is all a team effort. And but I would say a few days ago is when I kind of locked in and sat down with Ryan and said, hey, let's do this. And he was all on board and excited with what we ended up with.
I'm just curious if you could describe the feeling in the room, because just the energy you're giving off right now, like,
yeah.
I can tell you're pumped, you're excited. Just what was it like to submit Darryn as that number 2 pick and then know that it's happening?
It was great, and we're so excited about Darryn. It's just a culmination of a lot of patience and a lot of building, right? And we're just really grateful for our fans and the fact that they've stuck with us through this rebuild, and we're really excited that on top of Darryn, we feel like we've got a bunch of other talented players and that we can make big steps this year. So it's Darryn, and then it's all of that all together.
You said that it was a hard decision. You also said you feel like Darryn's just a very complete player.
Yeah.
What was, in your mind, kind of the deciding factor on choosing him in such a talented draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The draft is hard. There's, as a league, right, we don't always get it right. But Darryn felt like such a great fit. Like I said, culture, talent, position, ability, who he is and what he cares about. It feels like it really fits our team.
You mentioned that on the Canton trip that you told Darryn what you wanted to do with him and let him know what the plan was, and I'm kind of wondering what it was that you told him. What is it that you want to do with him?
We talked about our roster. We talked about our system. We asked him, how much he knew about our players and Utah and our history, and we showed him about how amazing the Jazz fans are, how many sellouts in a row we've had, how they support us through thick and thin. We talked about the way we play basketball, how we are a ball movement, body movement offense, and he loved the sound of that, and he liked to hear that we're going to go all in trying to win next year, as many games as we can, and that we think we really have a talent, the talent to both help him and that he can help.
You kind of already hit on it, but you've made moves. You got Darryn Jackson Jr. before the trade deadline. You have a lot of experienced players, some guys that have been all-stars, but you also have a young core. Where do you feel like he fits into that, and how beneficial do you think it will be for his future to kind of play alongside some players that have been all-stars and have that experience?
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. But Darryn is like I said, a very complete player for his age, and so I think he will fit seamlessly in with our group. But it's always a big transition for 19-year-olds. So we'll do everything we can this summer to get him and Ace and Keontae and Lowry and Jaren and Walker and Bryce and Svi and Cody, everybody on the same page, and get as much chemistry and work and get ready.
All right, there you go. That is Austin Ainge, President of Basketball Operations for the Utah Jazz. We are live here at JCW's. Of course, Austin Ainge reacting to the Jazz selecting Darryn Peterson with the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. Joining us now, by the way, just catching you up on what's going on with the draft. The Sacramento Kings now are on the clock with about 3 minutes to go. Brooklyn, the Nets just picked Mikel Brown Jr. Out of Louisville. Patrick Kinahan jumps on with us now. PK, we talked about it. It seems like we've talked about it forever. It finally happened, and Darryn Peterson's the newest member of the Utah Jazz.
Sit back, boys. I need 15 minutes starting right now.
Our guy's windy. He's ready to go.
He's feeling windy.
Oh, I got underwear older than that kid. What? No, he's gonna. Somebody texted me. He's gonna have Filipowski's number. They're gonna make him give it to him.
If he wants it, then
what's that number? Do you guys know it?
Off the top of my head, no.
I can't remember Flip's number.
Well, whatever it is,
22.
22 is right.
Yes.
Yeah. From now on, I'm telling you, he'll be the last guy to wear number 22 for the Utah Jazz.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at that.
Let's get that straight.
And that's the guy who said, I've seen it all at Kevin Durant's Summer League.
This guy is so skilled. He's so smooth. This is smooth jazz. He is the most skilled player they have drafted, and I can't remember when. And I don't know.
Maybe ever.
Yeah. He
might be Griffith, dude. Seriously.
And maybe you're
going
back.
He was as smooth as it could be.
Whatever you need him to do, I really believe he can do it. And I trust Austin Ainge. You weren't coaching at BYU back then, but I was the beat writer then. I got to know him pretty well. His basketball instincts are off the charts. I know they did all their homework to figure it out. They believe all that stuff. As I tweeted out, creatine be damned. This is their kid. This is their guy, right? And now he wanted to go number 1, and he didn't make up for it. You have an opportunity to come in with a really good team that is ready to win, and you can make a major contribution this very season. And I'm expecting big things from him this season, and I'm expecting huge things from him in 2 to 3 to 4 years as he continues to progress. I'm super high on this pick.
What do you look at in terms of what the Jazz are going to expect out of him in year number 1? In terms of, do you think he starts?
I don't know. He's going to have to earn his way.
Yeah.
Will Hardy now has so many tools that he has never had at his disposal, right? So it's going to be fascinating, don't you guys think, to see how all this puzzle is going to come together? Because they can do a lot of different things. And I've been around Kevin Young now for a little bit. I know you've been around for him longer, Tim. And he was on Jim Rome, old DJ's college buddy. Yeah. We did Jim Rome a couple times, that he says, I really value skill and shot making, and this kid has it. Now, too, he pushes Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
And,
yeah.
Okay, Ace, you're not a rookie anymore, but you want your spot. Now you got competition. Keontae George, he scored a bunch of points and games didn't matter. Every game's going to matter this coming season. You want your spot. You want your second contract, and you had a phenomenal, third season? And what are you going to do going into it next year? So now you got guys on the perimeter now who are going to be fighting for playing time, and I think that's a good thing. And then you got your established guys, the veteran guys in the front court. So I really like the balance that they have. And where do we go from here? It's an exciting reason as to why I'm going to be on this station for another few more years. There's two reasons. Because I'm fired up for what the Jazz have, and my wife won't let me retire. So we got that combination, and here we go. I mean, we've been dogging it. We've been through the dog years. The dog years are over. I want to be a part of this ride going forward because, man, I think this team's got a ton of talent right now for next season. Tim talked about it earlier, and I agree with you, and I agree with you even more now that they drafted Darryn Peterson.
Let's get to the Kings pick real quick.
7th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Darius Acuff Jr. from the University.
He's going to be a problem. I love that guy.
Everything has gone chalk so far. Everything has basically been expected, except for he's going to disappear in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Will the Kings ever get it together? This feels like they've just drafted another De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Halliburton, so even if he does become good, expect them to trade him.
Yeah, and then he'll blow up.
The minute he blows up.
Then he'll blow up. Yeah, so I don't know.
You're exactly right on chalk. Like, I've got the consensus. I pulled up a consensus mock today that takes everything into account, and we are 7 for 7 on that consensus.
You guys had Wagner going that early?
Yeah, this mock did that I looked at. I actually wondered if he would go maybe 6, but yeah, he jumped a spot.
He went 5 to the Clippers, by the way, if people just tuning in. The top 4 win as expected. Washington with A.J. DeBonsa, the Jazz with Darryn Peterson, Cam Boozer at number 3 to Memphis, Caleb Wilson 4 to Chicago, Keaton Wagler 5 to the Clippers, Mikal Brown goes 6 to Brooklyn, and Darius Acuff just now off the board 7 to Sacramento.
I think you go back to the Jazz and what they look like next year. Will Hardy hasn't been given the best of circumstances as the head coach of the Jazz, but you look at the development that Keontae George has made, that Filipowski's made, that even, you go down the list, a lot of these guys have really flourished with Will Hardy. Now, with Will Hardy having a guy like, Darryn Peterson.
Exactly.
And so crazy? It's like, holy smokes, I've been... no offense to some of these guys, but he's been making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. Now he's going to start with chicken salad, and what's he going to make out of it? He's going to have filet mignon before it's all said and done. So it's amazing to think Will Hardy has been really good developing some really good young players. Now he gets one of the most athletic players that we've seen in the draft in many, many years, and what he gets to do to work with that, watch out.
Well, and he actually gets to play them, huh, Coach?
Exactly.
Yeah, they get to actually play and play to win.
Yeah, and the other thing, Jake and I have sat and watched it, the ability for every little blurb, every iteration of the Jazz that were the last 4 years, and we've seen a lot of dudes roll through town. He made, each little group of that memorable. You gave a game where they went and won a game they shouldn't. Even through it all, he just kept his head up. So I of all the people I'm happy for, it's Will, because he has absolutely, Austin hit it. Like, anybody that can shoot and move around and you can use as he's going to be bigger than most his counterparts, that are trying to guard him. So he's going to have a real advantage, a guy you can play through.
All right, we'll have more on the rest of the draft coming up. Stay with us. What is trending is next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
With the 2nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Darryn Peterson from the University of Kansas.
Now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career. And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Take it out on everybody. Chip on the shoulder. PK music to your ears. Everybody's got to have a goal to shoot for. Can't have satisfied people running around in their rookie years. Chip on the shoulder. It's the fire that ignites the engine.
Yeah, so?
No.
Well, they said that they met with him in Canton, Ohio, which is the home of the NFL
Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I think that in due time, they'll also be meeting again in Springfield, Massachusetts.
I heard you say that. Tim Lacombe calling you out. Things you won't be responsible for because you're dead. They'll have to put it on your tombstone. That was good. Tim played the hits. Well done.
I told you he was a Hall of Famer.
Well done.
And Filipowski, Flipper has number 22. Well, yes. I'm going to go on record as saying there'll only be one more player in the history of Jazz franchisedom who will wear number 22.
Put that number in the rafters, baby.
Yeah, man, he's a player. I've been saying it. We've all been saying it for weeks. Most skilled player in a draft. And I think several weeks ago they came to the conclusion that this is what it was going to be. And I had heard, and literally, well, we'll leave it at that, but that they were not as overly concerned enough to not draft him about the other stuff, about the not playing and all that. And
cramping and the sitting and the taking himself out of games.
And I could argue, as a responder to one of my tweets said, that thank above for Creatine. Because Creatine kept him out of the lineup. And if he would have been in the lineup, he would have been the overwhelming number one choice.
Yep. So thank goodness for Ace Bailey's agent at the time and for Creatine, because two guys have fallen to the Jazz at 2 and 5 that they can plan on building around.
Yeah, and I think Darryn Peterson will be better than Ace Bailey, and that's nothing. Zero against Ace Bailey. Absolutely nothing.
Totally see why you say that. He goes more quickly in what is thought to be a better draft. Yeah, there's starting from, if this is a race, he's starting well out in front of everybody else.
And it looks like Ace Bailey was a great pick. We'll find that out for sure as we continue to go along, as we will with Darryn Peterson. But I'm extremely high on the kid. I think he's the most skilled player. He puts the smooth in smooth Jazz.
Jazz do not have a second-round pick for tonight, of course. They could trade back in, buy their way back in. That's happened. So
they've got so many young guys, I don't really see the need.
They don't need, unless there's somebody that they want to bet on that they think is awesome. I get it. Yeah, it's a young team.
Yeah,
and the roster spots might be needed for veterans.
Right.
Veteran backup center, veteran ball handler on the perimeter.
There's no need to give up something to get it.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise Dabansa Jr. from Brigham Young University.
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, they welcome me with open arms. I just give that most thanks to BYU, KY, and the whole staff for believing in me. I know I wanted to come. I wanted that visit. I see Yegor today, too. So, I mean, it's just BYU family all around, and I just give them a thanks.
A.J. Dabansa is the top pick in the draft. First time BYU has had the number one overall draft pick. They've had several number twos, but this is the first time they've had the number one. And he should make about $69 million over 4 years. What will he do with the Wizards? The Wizards have largely been going nowhere for 50 years now. I think 5 playoff series wins since they won their championship, which is now, 57 years ago. So, can they do it? Can he help them?
Oh, yeah.
Boston Celtics president of basketball operations Brad Stevens says all-star forward Jaylen Brown remains valued by the franchise despite his being dangled as the centerpiece of their trade offer to the Bucks for Giannis. Brown has been outspoken about being trade bait, so we'll see if they patch that up or if he's the next big name being traded around the league. Boston Celtics guard Derek White will be taking on the role with the Colorado Buffaloes as president of basketball strategy, assisting Buffs coach Tad Boyle. While continuing his NBA career, he's also donating $2 million to Colorado, where he made his name in college. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Put me on a soapbox, man. I mean, if you could put grass in MetLife and in SoFi, I think you could do that year round if you really gave it. I mean, like, that's my opinion. Like, the players, I think if you polled every single player, I would say probably 90% would hit. They prefer grass field, and I'd say 10% would say they don't care. But 90% of guys, they prefer to play on grass. And so it's just like, well, you just show that you can do it. So then why don't we do it? Because that's what the players want to do.
I would say money. They're spending a lot of money because they can make them a lot of money off the World Cup, but it was competitive to host the World Cup. Not all the NFL stadiums do. And they've already got their NFL tenant locked in, so they don't bother. And they can do multi-purpose events in there, and they can't do multi-purpose events during the few months they have the grass down here for the World Cup. But they're making so much money off the World Cup, they don't care. Follow the money, PK.
I don't care about any of it.
There will not be an NFL supplemental draft this year. The league sent a letter to former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby in which it explained he will need to enter the league via next year's NFL draft.
Well, yeah, we'll see about that.
And the lawyers will now commence. Can he sue the NFL, and can he get them to hold a supplemental draft? Or would he rather go back to college and fight those lawsuits and court cases? I mean, the Big 12, I think, expected this at least to some degree, if not absolutely, and that's why they left their legal stuff in place.
Why couldn't he be signed as a free agent?
I think there's something about it in the collective bargaining agreement, and that's why they have the supplemental draft to bring people in. They don't want to follow the money, be bidding against each other for free agents that are rookies.
Well, don't they already do that? Undrafted free agents?
For the undrafted free agents, yeah. But
What's
not for the guys, the guys who have a lot of talent, who you really spend a lot of money on and gamble on.
How many of those guys are there? I doubt they went to that minute of a detail.
The first rounders, they'd spend big money. I don't know how much longer that would go. I mean, to your point, is there 30 guys or 50 guys or 70 guys or whatever?
One.
Probably varies year to year. Certainly at the top of the draft, yeah. Atlanta Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts agreed to terms on a 3-year, $54 million contract extension. Includes $36 million guaranteed and makes him the third highest paid tight end in the NFL. $18 million a year. And Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly has had health challenges. Announced recently he had a stroke, but he's feeling really good. The Bills legend revealed the news at the opening of the franchise's new stadium. They had a ribbon cutting. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
The NCAA Division I cabinet unanimously approved a new 5-year age-based eligibility model. Athletes will have 5 years of eligibility with no exceptions outside of exemptions for religious missions, military service, and pregnancy. They'll do away with red shirts, medical hardship waivers, and the like. And now do you want to say we'll see about that?
Well, there are going to be exceptions.
Yeah. Ohio State will enshrine former Buckeyes coach Jim Tressel in the Ring of Honor September 5th. He'll join Woody Hayes and Paul Brown as coaches in the Ring of Honor. They won the 2002 national title with Jim Tressel in charge. So he'll get his day in the sun. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Got the curveball, popped it up. Pretty good pop-up as he drives it way out, way out, way out, way gone. How about that? Sitting on a breaking ball, he got it, and it hit it to a deep part of the park where it's about 375.
And Loperfido hammers it deep to right field. It's hooking. If it stays fair, it's gone. It's a fair ball and a go-ahead 3-run homer. Joey Loperfido, the former Blue Jay, comes back to Toronto.
Highlights from around Major League Baseball. Did you watch much baseball yesterday? The draft was fairly distracting.
I turned on while I was working last night the last couple innings of the Diamondback game on my phone.
Diamondbacks beat the Cards 4-3. What goes around comes around. The Dodgers just got blown out 12-1. Turn around and win 12-3. They hammer the Minnesota Twins, so they keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of your many teams. One of your other teams, the Phillies, also keeping it rolling. Beat up on the Nationals 14-9. Your team's scoring a lot of runs, PK.
Don't forget about Joey Loperfido.
Joey Loperfido?
He hit the home run. You know, he was with the Blue Jays, and then he came back, and he's a Jersey guy. And I was at Toronto, and he was on that team, and I looked him up. And the reason why I looked him up, well, he's got a Paisan last name, so I figured there's a good chance. Sure enough, he's from Jersey, and his walk-up music was the Eagles. None of this rap crap.
He's also been involved in a trade between Houston and Toronto, not once, but twice.
Dodgers trying to pull away from the Braves. Dodgers, Braves, and Phillies. Somebody's going to have to play in the first round, right? At least be one of the top two. Give yourself a little time off. Get your pitching organized. One of the Braves lost in 10 innings. Manny Machado's RBI single in the 10th gave the Padres a 7-6 win. Surprised the Yankees have done so well.
You keep asking that. So you are.
I am. And I wonder at what point you're going to be surprised. You seem to be kind of rolling with it. It happens. They won again. Beat the Tigers 4-3. Despite their disappointing season, Mets president of baseball operations David Stern said that he and owner Steve Cohen will continue to practice patience in hopes of the team rebounding in time to compete for a postseason berth. Less than 6 weeks remaining until the trade deadline.
Well, it's a virtue.
Patience is a virtue. There you go. So they will practice it. See if they can chase down a wild card. They're 7 games back of a wild card berth right now.
Also, as I saw a clip recently of Archie Bunker way back when saying, "Patience is a virgin."
Bees get blown out by Albuquerque 11-3. They'll play again tonight. Tony Park's on the call on 1280 The Zone. DJ and PK.
Bruno Fernandes. Neto sprinting down the right. Ronaldo through the middle. It's Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal. It's 3-0. And Ronaldo strikes again.
Portugal blows out Uzbekistan 5-0. How about Cristiano Ronaldo scoring twice? Can he do it against some of the better teams in the tournament? He got to roll in against Uzbekistan.
Who does he play for?
He plays for Portugal.
Is he Portuguese?
Yes.
Is he from Portugal?
Yes.
Do he live there?
Well, I mean, once you start playing for other clubs, he's moved around. So
I didn't ask if he moved around. I asked if he lived there.
He's a citizen of the world. He lives there part-time. I mean, in the season, he's living wherever he's playing because he plays for different clubs. Today, more games. Switzerland and Canada. Can Canada win their group?
I have no idea.
Mexico has won their first 2. They host Czechia. So, U.S. will be back at it tomorrow. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
NHL exploring the possibility of putting a second team in Texas. Austin and Houston have been mentioned as potential targets. Commissioner Gary Bettman announced it at the NHL's Board of Governors meeting. The Friedkin family will have 6 months to investigate the viability of a new franchise and getting an arena built.
The Friedkin family?
Friedkin.
Oh.
Friedkin.
Emphasis on ED, apparently, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
There it is. That is what is trending. The headline's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Brian Geltzeiler is going to join us to talk NBA draft at 9 o'clock. Matt Tait is here covering the Kansas Jayhawks for R1S1 Sports and Wave the Wheat. Plus, it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. We got tickets to see Leonard Skinner at the Utah State Fair on September 16th. That's coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Stick around, DJ and PK. The question of the day is next.
My main goal is number one, so me and my team decided that was the best place for me to go work out. But definitely happy that Utah picked me and can't wait to get there and go work. I think it's a great fit.
There is Darryn Peterson, DJ and PK. The draft is in the books. A reminder, KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. So, Darryn Peterson it is. Question of the morning. Sound off now. What do you have to say? Jazz fans have a lot to say. Over 100 comments overnight, PK. That is a boatload. Brian says, only time will tell.
Read every one of them.
If he's available and he's consistent, it doesn't miss a lot of games. He can become a great pick.
But you could say only time will tell on every single pick in the history of every single draft in every single sport. And really, every baby that's ever born.
Just head over to the hospital.
Yeah.
Stand in the maternity wing.
Or in the case of my father, his house.
Time will tell.
My father was not born in a hospital. So, yeah. How's that any different, Brian?
Brandon says Peterson was ahead of DeBounce until he had creatine-related issues. He's the best player in the draft, and the Jazz got exactly what they needed. This is going to be a really good draft class. That seems to be a pretty oft-repeated take right there. The Jazz got the number one player in the draft.
Oh, I don't know if that's true. I mean, they got the number two player, but did they get the best player? That remains to be seen. But it doesn't matter what the other players are doing. It matters what Darryn Peterson does.
Does he come here and be really good?
That's all that matters right now. I mean, and really, it's impossible to predict at the highest level. And so you're going on projection, obviously, which the draft has become. It always was that, but now so more than ever, and has been this way for a number of years with the one-and-doners and before that, the high schoolers. And some of those high schoolers turned out to be awesome, and others it took a bit, and others were busts. Right? So you basically have all three levels. You have superstar, good player, bust. It's roughly the three categories when you're drafting this high. You're drafting 25th or something, it's a different set of standards. But when you're drafting this high, that's basically the three levels that are possible. And certainly I would think minimally he would be the middle one, good player. But you want more at number two if that number two that year has that capability and that anticipation. Sometimes the drafts really don't have that. This year we anticipate that it does. I think we've got minimum here, decent player and potential superstar. Yes, I don't have any problem saying that. Knowing that is a projection. And it's not going to be decided at least minimally 2 years. It may have to go longer. And I can't speak any more than that because yesterday, unbeknownst to the producer, what's Christian's last name?
Esparza.
Yeah, he's now Ratfink. I'm getting ready to be on, and he says to Jake Scott, who's hosting, they were waiting for, I think, Austin Ainge or something, or Darryn Peterson was going to call. And then Jake says, okay, we'll have PK with us. And Christian, be careful because he's really windy. And he doesn't know that I got the headphones on. The kid who I've got more years experience in the business than he has on planet Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. Cross him off my list. So I'm not going to say any more. Apparently I'm windy.
Tony predicts that with the NBA spacing, Peterson's going to be a top 10 player within 5 years. So not your 2 year.
Okay, 5 years is a good length of time,
right.
I think, to make a pretty good assessment.
If he's a top 10 player at 24 years old, just sign up for that right now. Whatever bumps you've got to endure along the way, Awesome.
Probably not a whole lot.
You wouldn't think, because he's got to get right. You got to be top 20, top 30, top 40 along the way as you get better.
Right.
This is the best case scenario for the Jazz. After 4 years of unwatchable basketball, they should be a playoff team, barring injuries. Like to think so, Tony. I can co-sign that. Can't guarantee any of it, but you can root for it, expect it, hope for it. Top 10 player in 5 years. That is what you want out of a draft that's this loaded, and you get to pick 2.
I think the playoffs are
going to happen.
I'm going to go French here. Fait accompli.
So instead of thinking playoffs is the goal, think top 6. More likely to have a winnable series.
The way I look at it, if we're going to get to the team perspective, because they got tons of gazillion talent on this team.
Nice.
I don't think there's any question about that. And to me, right now, best case, 3. And then drop down from there.
Yeah.
Worst case would be play in, don't make the playoff. But right now, I think that 3rd spot in the West we're speaking of is open for the grabs.
If everything goes right, that's the best case scenario.
Because there's not a dominant 3rd team, I don't think. Now, we have to wait because free agency will be upon us in trades and whatnot. And so
the rosters may change, right? Yeah.
They will change. There's just no doubt about it.
They may change in a significant way.
They could.
Let's see if someone...
So let's get to September 1st and see where we're at. But right now, I think that 3rd spot is available for the taking, along with some other teams. It's not like they're a slam dunk by any stretch. But there's the possibility there. The talent is there. I don't see how you can deny that the talent is not there. Does it come together the way you want it? Well, we'll see what happens here. Can't make any bold predictions that this is, oh my gosh, they're going to be in the 2nd round. And we'll see who they get to play. Is it going to be OKC or San Antonio? It's possible. It's a realistic, arguable process, possibility.
We've talked 50 wins, and Minnesota with 49 was 6th last year. And to your point about 3rd, Denver won 54 games, and they were 3rd last year. So there's very little separating 3, 4, 5, 6. So get yourself in that mix, and then where do you land in that pile of teams?
Yeah.
Take that right now after what we've seen the last 4 years. Scott, he will be a superstar. It was the right pick. He has more upside than Cameron Boozer. We also need a ball handler, a shot maker. He can get a bucket in pressure situations like in the NCAA tournament. Smooth Jazz. That's one nickname I like for him.
Oh, yeah. He puts the smooth in Smooth Jazz. He's just a smooth player. You watch him play, and the way he glides, the way he moves, it is always on frame, on target. It doesn't look awkward. It just looks like, okay, you see where he wants to go. He's got the ball, and he's moving in a direction in the court. You see that you can anticipate the spot that he wants to get to. And he gets there, and he does it with a sort of a mind-blowing ability. I remember sitting courtside or second seat where we used to have the media, and I think Brad Rock was sitting next to me, and they're playing the Pistons. This is a snapshot of a memory for some reason that just stuck with me. And Grant Hill's on the team, right? Mm-hmm. And it's in his younger days. It might even been his rookie year. He gets the ball somewhere in the backcourt. I don't remember if he gets the rebound. Goes down, moving as he's dribbling and taking big strides. He's a tall man with long legs, right? And just glides right to the hoop. Not some big fancy dunk over some people, but just the way he moved in traffic as the defense is in transition and so forth. We've all seen those types of plays. And the way he just sort of glided down the court. I remember looking at Brad thinking, whoa.
Smooth, effortless, like butter.
Yeah, it was so neat to see. And that's what I see in Peterson. You're going to expect more from Grant Hill because he ended up getting hurt and missed a bunch of seasons, blah, blah, blah. That was a tragedy for him and his career because that derailed it clearly. But the talent, just the smoothness that a long, lean athlete in the NBA, and we can all picture that in our minds. Even my favorite player, Magic Johnson, he wasn't as smooth on the fast break, the Showtime, which was awesome. The crowd would go to his feet and then timeout and blast I Love L.A. And we've all seen that. I was in the Forum a million times for that. But even that wasn't as smooth looking as Darryn Peterson is as he moves. His ability to move so smoothly is just incredible. Plus, he's got a great shot.
So what's not to love?
Yeah,
Caleb,
it was a no-brainer.
Caleb, the thing about controversial players is that they hardly work out. Examples, Caleb.
Well, what is a controversial player? Because are we talking about injury? Are we talking about character? What are we talking about here?
Steve points out Ace Bailey was controversial. He's doing pretty well.
But
and
was
also,
Ace Bailey's character questioned?
It was. I wouldn't say it was character.
It was leadership above him. It was the young man. Was he a bad dude? Did he have any character issues? Did he have any trail along the way attitudinally?
That's more where we go. It'd be more attitude. Didn't want to be here. Trying to negotiate his way to Washington.
Well, but that's business.
But I know. But that's controversy. It's like you said.
No, I don't think it is.
Controversy comes in a lot of flavors.
I don't. It's controversy in a small manner that cannot be overcome, and it was. And they're always going to say that. We are in Utah. We're a long way from anybody. And that's part of the reason why we like being in Utah, right? But the fact is, once the individual gets here, no matter if he's a foreigner, no matter if he's inner city, no matter if he's rural, no matter if he's white or black, whatever, they get here, and that seems to go away.
Let's list all the guys who've lobbied to get out of here. There's 3 or 4 All-Stars who, for one reason or another, wanted out.
And where was Darryn Williams last night?
He's standing next to the Jazz Brass, guy who used to work on our radio station.
Yeah.
Started at the bottom, has worked his way all the way to the top. There was Chris Barney.
Yeah.
And Chris was one of our
associate general manager, Chris Barney.
6 sales guys before he's a sales manager, before they moved him over into ticketing, and then just I don't even know how many promotions since then.
And when he was a snot-nosed kid, DJ says, keep your eye on this guy.
He's going places.
What a call. And one conversation with Darryn Williams will solve that. Son, here's my story. And you notice where I am right now when it's all said and done. So that is no big deal. So, yeah, but if you haven't been here or had any experience in it, if I got sent to Maine, I've never been to Maine, one of the states I haven't been. Do I want to go to Maine? No. But if I went there and hung out there, met the people there, lived there, I'll probably think, Maine's a cool place.
Probably find something you like.
Yeah. And he did go to Lawrence, Kansas, which is not a suburb of New York City.
Well, that is actually the one thing about him playing at 3 different high schools and then the year of college is he's gone to really different places. I mean, he came from Lawrence. He was in Napa for a while. Okay, that's got nothing in common with Lawrence. Napa, okay. Not really a basketball hotbed.
No, but the wine is outstanding. I've had many different flavors. Yeah, Manischewitz is my favorite.
Manischewitz. Just to pick a Jersey cliche.
I happen to be a wine aficionado.
Okay.
Me and Joe Montana. And the thing about it, man, I was on the call last night when he called in.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great interview. It's only 5 minutes, but that's all you need. You don't need 15, 20, 25 minutes. That 5 minutes with the guys and me for last night I thought it was great. Not that we were great. He was great. Who cares what we are? It is him. And I asked him 2 questions. Dude, you weren't pick number 1. What kind of motivation is it going to provide? And Yak will give us the answer in 3, 2, 1.
Now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career. And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
I love that answer. And then I asked him.
That was such a you answer. That was just so on brand. I could feel, through the radio, I could just feel the glow.
And I'm going to probably take heat for it. But
why? Because he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's what everybody should want to have.
I know, but he takes a shot at Dabonsa.
And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
You take it. I never asked about Dabonsa. Yeah. I just said you draft second.
I thought that was a good answer, too, because
it's an awesome answer.
The assumption is, okay, the guy's number 1. You're going to play him twice a year. He's in the other conference. Right. You're not going to see him in the playoffs and meet in the finals, so that's a massive long shot. The fact that it'll drive him every day.
For the first 8 years before AJ comes.
The fact that it'll drive him every night in a league where everyone talks about you got to find your motivation, the dog days, the games just keep coming, and he's going to have this constant source of energy and motivation. What a great answer. Who doesn't want to hear that?
I agree with you. Obviously, man, I wanted to high-five him across the
I knew you did.
telephones.
I thought it's a great answer. He's highly motivated. There's no casual. He knows that if he sits and misses, 26 games or whatever, it's going to be like, well, yeah, that's why he couldn't go number 1. And he's bitter about it. This is like, I get why people were worried about it. It's a huge investment. It's a huge opportunity to draft here. And if you pick the wrong guy, and it seems like it's the only thing that can go wrong with this guy is what if he's hurt and he's sitting all the time, and what if he doesn't really have the drive and he's not ready to push through stuff or not willing to push through stuff. And all of a sudden he comes out and literally in the first 5 minutes that he's talking to the local media here, he's like, yeah, I got a chip on my shoulder. And not just about that guy. Well, good, because I want to have a chip on his shoulder when they play San Antonio and they play Oklahoma City. When they play whoever in the West. You know, ideally, I think they are in that 3, 4, 5, 6 range as a 50-win team. Well, the whole point of getting there is play somebody you can beat in the first round, have some playoff success. You're not going to duck Oklahoma City and San Antonio forever. Matter of fact,
you see about getting them then the following year. In terms of beating them.
In terms of beating. But you could see him in the second round. There'll be plenty of time to play those guys. Right. And this guy's going to have a chip on his shoulder every night. No people watching, he went number 2. He should have gone 1. He wants people to say that. He should have gone 1. He's so good.
And I want him to want that.
Right. Yeah. And hopefully it's not just that, but it's like so much of the NBA is what kind of stats do you get, because that determines how much money you get. And the stats are primarily focused on offense. Box scores are focused on offense. And he's got the ability and the size to be a really good defender. And the best teams, you can look at the stats, and the best teams are good defensive teams. Sometimes because sometimes because Wemby's there blocking shots and they just won't take layups and dunks. But you got to be good defensively. He knows he's going to get judged on that. It's awesome. It's a great answer.
I agree.
Puts to bed a lot of the baggage or fears. I mean, every fan probably has a different word for it, whatever consternation they had. Yeah, concern. Yeah. It's like, okay, now he's still got to do it, and there's still going to be ups and downs. But if that is constantly anxiety in the background driving him, Gobert played really hard. I mean, obviously he doesn't have the offensive game everybody wishes he had, the offensive game that he would need to be one of the all-time great centers. But he plays really hard at the defensive end of the floor. It's hard to move a big body as well as he moves around on the court. And he wears number 27 because he got drafted 27th, and that irritated him. And he played with a chip on his shoulder. And it doesn't fix the offensive issues with him, but the reason he's so good and he's made hundreds of millions of dollars is the energy that dude brings on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah.
And it's powered by the same thing, the same thought that's going to be powering Peterson. Should have been drafted earlier.
25 years later, the number 3 galls the living crap right out of me because you openly tell people he was my third choice. Yeah.
David Lockwood.
Every freaking day.
Cool.
Every segment.
And now it's almost a quarter of a century when the ink dries.
And I'm not done.
Nice.
And my
26 and 27
ability to get revenge over you is still there. When I go into contract negotiations, I say one more penny. That's all I ever say.
Awesome.
And they think that's a bargain.
I hope you got it.
Because I can get far more. But I only want one more penny. Because I don't want to rip the whole company, so I'll take less. But I want one more penny. And my second question to him was, so many guys in your position come into a rebuild to a team that is away, a la AJ and Boozer, and I can even go Caleb Wilson and how far you want to go down, but you get the point. And he said, yeah. I said, this isn't going to be this case for you. He said, I know. And he starts ripping off everybody. Like he's had personal conversations with all the guys. He knows all about the team. He knows what's available to him right now from day one, and he knows he's got to earn it because there's going to be levels of competition. And then not only he has to earn it, the younger dudes, basically Kessler resigns. If he does, he's going to play the 5. The other 2 guys are going to play the 3 and 4 or the front line, however you want to phrase it. And then from that point, playing time is the old Majerus line. I don't decide. You decide. Who's going to decide? And that's going to be cool for the entire team. That wonderful backcourt of George and Bailey. Okay, now you got somebody on your heels. What are you going to do about it? You got to do something about it. You can't let the rook come in. Keontae George has worked way hard to get to his spot. He wants to maintain it. He's due for a contract extension coming up. He wants to prove to everybody that, okay, these points that we're scoring in losses are not shallow, that I hit big shots. I am a big-time player. I should have been drafted higher. And great, I want Peterson on the team because it'll help us win, but he ain't taking my spot. I'll play alongside with him, but nobody's taking my spot.
Need my 36 minutes.
Yeah. And Ace Bailey, you had a nice season and you progressed as the season came along. But now you got a hot shot right on your tail.
Be interesting to see what the Jazz management thinks, because if they bring in a veteran, then it gets really hard. Right now, there's enough minutes to go around because I think Ace Bailey can back up Markkanen. Whether Markkanen's, whether Markkanen's off the court,
potential to play all 3 of them
for 15 minutes a night, or if he's the backup for, you start doing the math of it all. If Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing 35 minutes. Markkanen might play 13 minutes at the 4 and might play the rest of his time at 3, but that opens up nearly half the game at 3 to put Ace there.
Yeah, but when you're down 1 and there's 15 seconds to go.
Which 5 guys get to close the game? Who gets the shot in the last 5 minutes? Who is the second option? If one guy is doubled and face guarded. If you don't want to be the number 1,
then I don't want you. And I think he's going to want to be the number 1.
DP.
Yes. It may take a bit. I'm willing to have a level of patience. And that's the great thing about it, is this team can win while he develops.
Yes.
You don't have to wait.
We're expecting that.
2-3 years. No. I don't like the phrase ease him in, because I want him in difficult situations right off the bat.
I think you're going to see that.
But I'm not going to put all the pressure on him. He doesn't have to be the man, but I don't want to take time, unless it calls for it. But I don't want it to sit him at the end thinking, because he's a rookie. If he's playing well the whole game, then he belongs in there at the end. And we'll see what happens.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio and NBA TV contributor, will join us at 9 o'clock. Ben Anderson from New York at 8 o'clock. He was with the guys behind the scenes covering it. We will talk with him at 8 o'clock. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
He is the president of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. Austin Ainge, kind enough to join us. Is there a point where you lock your board down and say, okay, we're all on the same page. Let's not overanalyze this. This is all what we're feeling, and let's just stick with it.
I think at some point after we get everybody in and spend our time with them, and that's kind of the final bit of information that we haven't been able to gather. And again, I don't want to overrate that and say that everything comes down to a few meetings with us. We'll just try to to not lock it in until then. And then, pretty shortly thereafter, we'll kind of just say, all right, this is what we're going to do. These two, this is number one, this is number two. If one's there, we take them. If one's gone, we'll take two. And that's the way we'll do it.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I would say a few days ago is when I kind of locked in and sat down with Ryan and said, hey, let's do this. And he was all on board and excited with what we ended up with.
There is Austin Ainge talking about the draft process. A reminder to join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe today from 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Locked in a few days ago, PK. They knew this would be the guy.
I think they thought this would be the guy for a long time.
AJ was going to go number one.
But then they zeroed in on it and, as he said, locked in. But I think they knew for a good while. I mean, I had heard weeks ago that they were satisfied if they needed to take him, that they would.
Trip to Canton to meet with him, just confirming it.
I think it further confirmed it.
Austin dropped the line. We all left very excited.
I don't think that it confirmed it. I think it further confirmed it. It solidified it even more. That's what I would say.
We can trust all the work we've done to this point, which was all pointing in this direction anyway.
Pretty much from day one. Yeah. Day one being May 10th, whenever that date was with the lottery selection order. So, yeah, right. And this is where these last 6 weeks led to, and here we are.
Jazz fans reacting to the news. What do you think? What do you have to say now? Travis is still worried. Mostly it's positive and upbeat. Hopefully he's more Kevin Durant than Sam Bowie. Two famous number 2 picks. Scott, meanwhile, just wants to roll out the basketballs and go. It's go time. Time to let Coach Hardy work. Go Jazz. Scott's had enough of the losing.
When they get together, that's exactly where it'll be. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's exactly the truth. Yeah, I agree.
James says, I can't wait to see what the Memphis Grizzlies do with Clayton Jr. and Boozer. The Jazz could easily have both those players right now.
What about Taylor Hendricks?
Just run down the list of people who used to play here.
Well, he was included in the trade, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's in Memphis. Grizzlies with the Jazz flavor. But I think he's thinking two-man game there.
I'm not worried about that.
Mark has built his championship timeline. NBA champions 2027. His timeline is
next season?
9 months from now, we will be starting the playoff run for the ages. 10 months from now.
Well, it's so long away, right? And for my crystal ball type thing, my trying to be reasonable about it is get in there, sort of like the Mammoth did. Now, maybe win. That'd be even better, obviously. But for like next season, we're not going to settle for the Mammoth. Are they going to be in the playoffs? They're going to have to win. They're going to have to up the goal, and so that's what I'm looking for the Jazz. Get there next year, see where things are. Yeah, we have no idea A, if they're going to get there, B, who they're going to play, all that stuff, and so but track that as the season goes, and then okay, once you've got that taste. Then go back in 27, 28 and start moving up that food chain. I mean, that's basically what the Thunder did. Now, if you want to fast forward it like San Antonio, all right, even better.
There are more teams on these 2-3 year arcs than there used to be. They seem to fly higher, faster.
There's not players coming and going to the level. I don't know that the rebuilds can be done as quick. And so this is more of the way you acquire talent is to get the young kid, develop them, and they all have to develop, every single one of them, put them together, figure out who meshes with whom, and away you go. This is the logical way. And maybe it's all painful. It's no less painful wherever you're doing it than it was here. Sure, it was painful, just like it would be everywhere.
Because it was us.
Yeah.
But they couldn't have been having fun in San Antonio and Oklahoma City.
Right.
But I do think they spent their 2 or 3 years in the lottery, whatever it was.
Yeah, didn't the Spurs miss the playoffs like 6 years?
Yes, between their rebuild, but then they get one by Yama, and it's like
I understand, but they still missed the playoffs for
They did.
For 6 years.
Because they had to go back in the draft and
Yeah.
get the second pick and get the fourth pick.
Right. Right. And and then they got one by Yama, but it took him 3 years. And that's the good thing about Darryn Peterson is he's stepping in for a second choice. He's got to be settling into one of the better spots of all time.
I get why you would say that. And the Jackson trade sped things up, and it was why people were so excited when it happened. We were. And then Locke came on and told us the team was.
I think a lot of things sped it up, and certainly the Jackson trade is one of them. But I think George's development is one of them. Yes. I think drafting Ace Bailey is one of them. Those are two big-time additions to the team that has expedited the process.
And to complete the top half dozen, the fact they got Markkanen and Kessler back when they made the original deals.
And Kessler turns out to be a force.
Yep.
Didn't he? I think he went like 22nd or something, right? So, like, for instance, Abaji went 10-plus positions ahead of him. Not a player. Can't shoot.
Much rather have Kessler.
Yeah. So all those things, and probably the crowning portion of it, two things, I think, are Jaren Jackson's trade and then landing at the number 2 spot with the opportunity to draft Darryn Peterson.
DJ PK, when we come back, Ben Anderson joins us from New York, backstage in the media availabilities. Had his eyes and his ears on the entire night as the stories unfolded in New York. We'll talk with him, get his impressions next. Stay with us.
He's been working out twice a day, every day, and he feels great. And, when he did show me his tattoo, he looks stronger already. He's been working pretty hard. Our doctors went through everything from the combine and all the tests that were ordered, and we feel very comfortable, and he's ready to hit the ground running. We plan on seeing him in Summer League.
DJ PK, there is Austin Ainge talking about Darryn Peterson. The Jazz used the second pick in the draft to bring in the Kansas Star. A big night in New York, and the guy who was there for all of it joins us now. Ben Anderson, you hear him with Jake from 2 till 6 right here on The Zone. Ben, good morning.
Hey, DJ. Hey, PK.
Hello.
So you're there, you're the station's eyes and ears, and you get to go backstage and have conversations with people. When this recedes into your memory, there's probably a couple details you'll hold on to. What are your big takeaways from this night? What'd you see, what'd you hear that's going to stick with you?
Yeah, I guess it's the big surprise of what Darren's actual personality, at least for now, seems to be versus what he was billed as at Kansas, which was, this quiet Kawhi Leonard type player. I've talked to Kawhi before. He is extremely quiet. He's very serious. He doesn't seem to really loosen up hardly at all. And that's not the case with Darryn. Darren's quite loose. He's definitely a pro. I mean, you can tell he's very mature for his age, but he does not seem like somebody who's going to have a hard time fitting in. He doesn't seem like he's going to have a hard time, finding his teammates and becoming one of them. I think that kind of 180 compared to what the expectation was most surprising to me.
He said that he thinks, along with Tait George, that they can form a dynamic, if not the best backcourt in the league. Just wondering, as far as the assimilation process, Ace Bailey is already there, obviously. How do you think those three fit together with what the front court has?
I mean, at some point, you might have to replace one of the front court players with Ace Bailey if Ace Bailey is good enough to do it. For now, I suspect Ace and Darryn will play probably pretty similar roles. Obviously, Darryn will be able to play a little bit more point guard, but early in his career, I don't know how much he's going to be tasked with that. Tait George, he can play off the ball as well, so that might be his best opportunity. But if he's playing with the second unit, I still think Isaiah Collier, assuming he's on the team, is going to get the majority of those reps as a point guard. And that might make Darren's life really easy. He doesn't have to go out there and, get everybody involved. He can kind of just focus on his own game, getting shots up. And that's his skill that should translate right away in addition to what he does on the defensive end. I mean, he is a pure shooter, and I think that's something the Jazz could certainly use.
You do a podcast with Chandler Holt here at KSL Sports every Monday. You guys have your Jazz Notes podcast. And Chandler posted something on social media last night, a quote from that apparently Peterson told his agent after the NBA draft combine. Something about Utah I like. Their energy. I feel like I could be with those guys. Close quote. Do we need to remember quotes like this? Is this a kind of quote that just tells us what a bunch of smoke screens the draft is and how much people are trying to manipulate it? I mean, it was the whole Ace Bailey saga a year ago. Now this quote and worried about him not working out here, yet he's telling his agent this. Should this just be a lesson to us all about the draft process?
Yeah, I think I even brought it up on your show that, when the Jazz drafted Dante Exum, they kind of, not famously, but notoriously passed on Marcus Smart, who ended up being a very good NBA player. And the rumor was Marcus didn't want to come out to Utah to work out because they already had Trey Burke on the team and he wanted to be a point guard. And then we learned 5 years later that he and Quinn Snyder talked for several hours the night before the draft. So I do think these teams always find a way to get in contact. And while agents try to position their players and teams try to position and keep everything hidden, I suspect there's more contact behind the scenes than most people recognize because, worst case scenario, you don't end up as the number one overall pick. It'd be nice to know who you're going to. It'd be nice for your family to know something about the state, the team, the organization. So I think the fact that this does get done probably should always remain in fans' eyes, that this is something that just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean, everyone's not dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
What was his group like as far as who was there with him?
It was just family. I think his agent was at the table as well, but he's pretty, I don't want to say small town, but I just don't think he needs a lot. I think he's pretty well contained. It seemed like his group is pretty well contained, even walking around. And this is not a knock on AJ DeBonsa at all. There's a lot of different ways to do this. And I've seen a lot of guys have success, but everywhere AJ went last night, his dad was there. There was a huge group of family, a huge group of people, all of his handlers from DC. It was just a lot. It was kind of a big crowd, and everybody noticed it as he was walking around because it was hard to miss. There was just so many people. It's just not really how Darryn seems to operate. I mean, he had plenty of attention last night, but he's kind of I don't want to say the word loner. I don't think he needs a lot. I don't think he wants a lot. I think he likes his privacy. It seems like he likes to be kind of low down and quiet, and I won't be surprised if that follows him to Utah.
It looked like he went around the table. I was guessing mother, brother, sister, dad, agent, and then somebody. I don't know if you got to meet any of them or talk to any of them.
No, I mean, they weren't in the green room, they were in the green room, but they didn't follow him down to the press conference area at all. And again, AJ's dad is his agent, so it makes sense why he would be around. But no, there just was not a lot of bodies or anyone guiding him around. I do think he's comfortable being on his own. I'll be curious who ends up coming to Salt Lake with him. Some guys bring, a lot of people. Taylor Hendricks notoriously brought his mom, and his brother transferred to UVU. I think he was happy to have his infrastructure around him. And I think Keontae George came out here with a cat and his girlfriend and ended up getting a dog, but not everyone needs the whole group.
It seems like in listening to Austin Ainge that obviously we knew that there was a strong possibility that he would be available, but that they feel like all the potential issues have been answered and they're not question marks. It's going to be if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, it doesn't work, it's going to be because he's not a good enough player. And we all think he's a good enough player, so it'll work. It's just a matter of what level to the degree that it does work. But the point I'm asking in the question in your conversations was their level of comfortability, in my mind, came fairly early about these questions of him not playing, and so then they solidified on drafting him. How did you see that?
Yeah, I think based on the fact that the team has relatively strong ties to Cam Boozer through Carlos, probably understand everything Carlos or Cam Boozer has done for several years because they've scouted him just as closely as I'm sure they did with both AJ DeBonsa and Darryn Peterson, that if the Jazz were comfortable passing on a player as good as Cam, probably means they were pretty assured that there was nothing long-term wrong with Darryn Peterson. Now, let's see. He's got to get on the floor. He's got to actually prove it. And if it continues to linger and plague him, then it could be one of the bigger mistakes the Jazz have ever made. And sometimes you don't know those things until they actually get on the court. But Darryn, he said one of his goals is to play all 82 games this year. He wants to get out there. He says he, recognizes he wasn't able to accomplish just simply being on the floor at Kansas what he wanted to. So he thinks that's something that's fixed. The Jazz clearly think it's something that's fixed. Otherwise, I don't think they would have had any problem passing on him because there was very good options behind him still.
We get to see a lot on TV, but I don't know if we get to see everything. When he went back and did the media, did you get any more interaction with him, hear anything, or they whisk him away after a quick media session there in New York?
No, he doesn't seem too big for anybody. Now, that's why the draft is fun. These guys generally haven't had a bunch of paychecks hit. Now that's different in college. He's got some money, I'm sure. And I heard he signed an absolutely massive deal with Adidas yesterday. I overheard, this was just on the train, but I think it was agents talking that it's the biggest deal for a rookie since LeBron James.
Yeah.
So Adidas made a very significant investment in him, but no, I don't think he's bigger than this. I don't think he's acting bigger than this. I think he's enjoying himself. I think he understands how to enjoy himself. And you can just kind of tell he ranked his favorite movies. His, picture on Twitter is Edward Scissorhands, which is a weird 90s throwback. He's a little bit of a different kid. I'm not sure he's your average 19-year-old.
How was the scene back there? Because the draft was so ballyhooed for so long. I'm just wondering, compared to the other ones that you may have covered, was it more exciting, more publicity and noise around it?
No, it seemed a little quieter. I was a little surprised by that. Now, maybe it's because of who was actually there. I mean, not a knock on BYU, but AJ Dubonsa didn't go to, Duke, didn't go to Michigan, didn't go to one of the bigger college basketball schools traditionally, though BYU's working towards that. So while there were some faces there, it wasn't like Coach Calipari was sitting, by his side the way he was with Darius Acuff. And then the Jazz having the number 2 overall pick and Darryn Peterson being a little bit of a mystery himself, didn't seem to have, a huge media following. And Cam Boozer's, very buttoned up. He's just very quiet. And then the fact that it went Washington, Utah, Memphis isn't exactly, Los Angeles, New York, Miami as far as drafting at the top. So I didn't think there was crazy media around. And because I've been in a few years, I wonder if kind of the attention to the draft is kind of smaller than it used to be in person. But it was pretty calm. And then the fact that it went mostly chalk for the first at least 4 picks and maybe the top 8 picks, I think that reduced a little bit of the excitement around the building as well.
Is there a Knicks hangover too? These people can't get up for the draft. They were just celebrating an NBA championship.
I kind of felt that around the city. I was expecting with the World Cup it to be pretty loud here and pretty crazy. And you can tell, I mean, there's a lot of soccer kits, running around, but there's still some barricades up by Madison Square Garden where I think the parade was. So I do wonder if everyone's a little bit, I don't want to say basketballed out, but certainly got their fill.
So you say it went according to form. Anything catch you off guard?
I think the whole weekend with Dusty May was kind of surprising, leaving Michigan and then them taking Morez Johnson with the 9th overall pick when, you hire a guy the day before the draft. Now, I know it's not the first time they had talked, but the fact that they ended up picking a Michigan guy and the 3rd Michigan guy, I think a lot of people thought Yaxel Lendeborg or Adai Mara would have gone first. So that was interesting, though I really like Morez Johnson, so I like the pick. But I thought that was interesting. The fact that the Thunder ended up still making their pick. I mean, I know they had 2 picks, and they ended up with Bennett Sturtz, I believe. I kind of wondered if they would be more aggressive to try to trade up. But otherwise, again, just kind of, I think teams are a little feeling held hostage by not knowing how to use future picks. So I don't think there was a lot of trades on draft night last night, using a pick from next year or a pick from 2 years ago, because nobody knows what type of value they're going to have. So it's safer to just hold on to them for the time being.
I think that's part of it, but also all this talk that the next draft is bad and one after that is pretty mediocre. This draft was supposed to be good, so the whole thought, well, do you really want to trade these top picks? It's not like the commissioner was running back out there announcing, trades as we move through the, top dozen picks. I thought it kind of underscored the fact that we've been saying everybody says this is a good draft, but the actions really backed up the words. Young talent, rookie contracts are valuable, and these guys are all pretty good players with pretty high expectations. So we'll see how it plays out. But the team seemed to really back it up with the decisions they made here in the first half of the draft.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the fact that, Koa Pete, I mean, he would have gone top 10 in the Cody Williams draft. He went 30th. I mean, in all honesty, that's a very similar type of player coming out of Arizona with, some good physical tools and a game that's still developing. So obviously, yeah, I've heard that the next 2 drafts are flat out lousy. So I don't think anyone's really excited to be a part of them, which probably explains why the Jazz were willing to give up some of the picks they were to Memphis in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. But I do think this draft is, at least at the end, everybody bought into the hype. Now we'll see what it actually looks like a few years from now. Not every draft lives up to the hype, but certainly it seems like the front office has bought into it.
How many BYU folk were there in terms of, we saw Kevin Young, but thinking that, okay, this is an opportunity to really push our institution off the back and shoulders of AJ in terms of publicity? What did you see there?
I didn't see a lot. I was surprised. I thought I would see more BYU jerseys. I saw more Jazz jerseys. I don't know if I saw a single BYU jersey beyond any time you walk around in any other city, you're going to see a hat somewhere. But I really didn't feel a big contingent there. And that doesn't mean they weren't operating behind the scenes, but they weren't there on media day on Monday either. So it does feel like AJ's kind of moving forward. And look, he said he still wants to maintain a very strong connection to BYU. And I suspect Kevin Young will, be happy to have that around and the entire basketball program. But I didn't see a lot of it. I was surprised a little bit on that front that, this is a huge day for BYU as well. AJ's going to be their highest draft pick ever. It's hard to go higher than 1-1. So we will see. We'll see what that connection ends up, how it manifests itself going forward. But I'm with you, PK. I was a little surprised that outside of Kevin Young and, of course, Yegor Demon plays for the Brooklyn Nets, and he was just kind of wandering around and actually turned me down for an interview.
Oh, he did?
He said he didn't want to get in trouble with the Brooklyn Nets PR people. And I said, hey, I don't want to get you in trouble either. So that's fine. But everyone was cool. He was very nice about it.
Ben, I'm curious now that they know who the draft pick is. We talked about how they're going to build the roster this summer. Now they know, right? If they're drafting a big, that's going to change things a little bit. But they drafted a guard. So priorities now, veteran guard, backup center, maybe a big who swings between the 3 and 4, but maybe not. How would you prioritize these with the roster spots they have left and the money they have left?
Yeah, I think another veteran ball handler. Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Darryn Peterson is just a very young group still. They're talented, but they're really young. So I think there's probably situations where you'd want to bring one more person in, unless that ends up being Svi Mikhailuk. I'm really curious about the front court behind Walker Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr. Kyle Filipowski's a really skilled offensive player, but he's not a defensive player. Yusuf Nurkic is not a defensive player either if he comes back. So I think they could use a backup big that could provide a little bit of rim protection, or they're just going to have to balance having Walker and Jaren out there, for 48 minutes a night in some role. And that's possible, but we need to figure out how much they're comfortable playing Jaren at the 5. I mean, he has not done that particularly well throughout his career. And just because it seems convenient doesn't necessarily mean the Jazz have to do it.
July 4th afternoon, is the Huntsman Center going to be sold out?
I would imagine. I mean, I know it's the 250th anniversary of the state or the country, so that might be a little bit of a distraction, but you guys saw the draft party last night. I'm sure you had some fans come down and hang out at JCW's as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement about this team, and the fact that I think you're going to get both Ace Bailey and Darryn Peterson on the floor together is the best summer league roster the Jazz have probably ever fielded.
Oh, go down to Vegas and win this thing. The first of many titles. I see what you're saying.
We'll see. We'll see how much Ace ends up playing. I haven't heard anything, but maybe he doesn't end up going all the way down to Vegas and still, suiting up in some of those games. Maybe he does. The second-year guys traditionally do, but Ace isn't your traditional second-year guy.
You think there are any guys on the roster? PK was talking yesterday, and he's right. I couldn't name off the top of my head everybody who played for the Jazz last year. Maybe you could. I think there were like 25 guys. I might be off on the number, but I think I remember something at the end of the season about that was like the 24th or 25th player who suited up for the team this year. Did they find any diamonds in the rough? Obviously, some of those guys, they were trying to lose games, and every loss was important because they needed every loss and to win the coin flip with Sacramento to get to number 2. So some of those guys clearly are just on their way, but was there anybody in there that we're not talking about or overlooking who's going to be part of this?
I think Blake Hinson has a real chance as a two-way contract guy that signed a 2-year, two-way contract. He's 26 years old. I mean, he shot like 47% from three last year, and it was a weird role. Again, a role that is not going to be there for him this season as the Jazz are trying to actually compete. He's not going to be able to shoot it every time he touches it, but if he makes it every time he shoots it, it's going to be a real, feather in his cap. And, Jazz did draft a player who conceivably could replace Bryce Sensabaugh, depending on who outplays, one another coming up here in the offseason. And they're going to need shooting and they're going to need some size. But I thought Blake Hinson played really well and is very affordable. And we know now how expensive contracts get very quickly. I mean, you're talking about a 26-year-old who's bounced around the NBA a little bit in the G League. It's never really broken through and really seemed to break through. He's got the body. Certainly he seems to have the demeanor. So that's a name I would keep an eye on as a chance to make the roster, as a two-way player, and then eventually maybe move that up to a minimum level contract that could potentially replace somebody else and give the Jazz some save money.
Ben, we appreciate it as always. Safe travels, and we'll hear you back on your show with Jake. Weekdays 2 to 7 right here on The Zone.
Thanks, guys.
Ben Anderson from New York, where he's covering the draft. DJ and PK, Matt Tait covers the Kansas Jayhawks. He'll talk Darryn Peterson with us after the break. He joins us from our R1S1 Sports and Wave the Wheat. Matt Tait on Darryn Peterson next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LaComb.
Joining us now, it is Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports Pro Basketball Talk.com.
You mentioned Walker Kessler, and what do you make of that? What do you read between the lines, I guess?
This is, look, it sucks to be a restricted free agent in the modern NBA because your leverage is largely gone if the team that has your rights lets it be known they're going to re-sign you, which is rightfully what Utah's doing. Does it drive down his market? Yeah, that's kind of the point too. But the reality is they're not letting him go. They can match and force a sign-in, at worst, force a sign-in trade and get back other things they want. So I think this is the agent trying to, man, we're not happy. At the end of the day, the sides will come to a number and agree to it. And if he's really frustrated, you push for a shorter deal. You try to get back on the market sooner, and maybe Danny's good with that, and you figure something out.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Play all 82 games. Coming off the year out of Kansas, I didn't get to play all the games that I wanted to. My first goal was to play all 82, make the playoffs, try to get a ring. I've seen some rookies get deep in the playoffs, and they kind of inspired me to get there. They came up short, but I want to get all the way and get a ring.
There's Darryn Peterson. Music to your ears, PK. Play all 82. Get a ring. Old school. He knows what everybody's been saying.
I don't understand why rings are such a big deal. I don't wear jewelry. A ring.
It represents the championship.
I want to win one. I understand that passion. That's what, that's the pinnacle of team play, obviously, is to get that. And those are lofty goals. Might as well have them. I'd rather have them than not have them. He said all the right things.
He said all the right things. He's clearly heard what everybody's saying. He knows why he fell to number 2, and it puts a chip on his shoulder, which he also said on the list of right things he said. We played that quote from him earlier this morning.
Right.
Boxes have been checked. Next up, as you like to say, 4th of July, the afternoon. Fireworks at the Huntsman Center, and then go watch fireworks in the sky.
Yeah, I bought season tickets to the Summer League this year.
All 3 games, huh? Big
all
spender.
session pass. I like it.
Big spender. DJ PK, we're joined now by Matt Tait, covering the Kansas Jayhawks for R1S1 Sports and Wave the Wheat. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing, fellas?
Well, everyone here is all fired up about the draft. They finally know who the Jazz are getting. There was lots of drama and twists and turns and wondering. And I bet you hear me say there was lots of twists and turns, and you think that dude has no idea.
Yeah, that's fair. I just talked with your producer. He said, you're ready to talk some Darryn Peterson? And I said, always, because I talked a ton of Darryn Peterson in the last 10 months, good, bad, and otherwise. But, Utah got a an absolute stud. I've been doing this a long time. I've covered pretty much every one and done player who's come through Kansas under Self. I've seen some divas. I've seen some, diamonds in the rough. I've seen all kinds of different players and everything in between that. And I honestly don't know that I've enjoyed one quite as much as I enjoyed Darryn Peterson. That's not to say he's my favorite player I've ever covered. There's 4-year guys that you build relationships with and you watch them grow up, and those kinds of things definitely make a difference in your ability to get to know people. But as far as the one and dones with the most hype and all the buzz that came with that guy, the outside perception honestly couldn't be more off. Utah got a stud, they got a star, they got a great human being, and he's going to show it, and the organization and the fans are going to love it.
Clearly, with the Kansas fans and probably with the coaches and all that, there was some frustration when he wasn't playing as much as anticipated, and he took himself out, certainly in that BYU game in the second half. I'm wondering, how did you see his demeanor in terms of how he handled that? Because there was a lot of heavy criticism directed at that situation.
Yeah, there was, and you've heard the Kobe comparisons, and obviously that's high praise and a little bit crazy in a lot of ways because, Kobe's a top 2, top 3 player of all time. So I get why people kind of shake their head or tilt their head when they hear that. But I do think that, and I wrote this morning, one of Darren's biggest Kobe traits, I think, is just the thick skin, man. He let all of that roll off his back. I mean, obviously it gets to a point where it bothers you. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what we're talking about. I mean, when you get criticized literally after every game you play or don't play, at some point it's going to bother you. But we never saw it boil over. We never saw it, really get to him. We never saw him explode. We never saw him, fight back. We never saw him, want to yell at anybody or show frustration. I mean, he just kind of shrugged every time it got brought up or every time he was asked directly about it, and he said that's their opinion, I'm comfortable with who I am, or that's how they feel. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't think about the noise. I don't care about that stuff. I mean, he handled it like a very mature young man, and certainly more than you'd expect from a college freshman. So it was frustrating. It was frustrating for everyone involved, and that includes Darryn. I mean, I don't know how many times we heard Bill Self or Darryn himself say, if he could be out there, he would. And it was killing him to not play. And I think the narrative became, well, he doesn't care about basketball. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't mean as much. This is not something he's committed to. All of that stuff's crazy. It really is. I mean, this guy lives and breathes basketball. It's all he knows. It's all he does. It's all he cares about. And so even though he didn't show it, and I credit him for not showing it, because a lot of guys would melt down in that situation or certainly let it boil over. Even though he didn't show that, which some people wanted, to see some fire, to see some frustration, they wanted to see him kick a chair, or whatever it would be. I know it ate at him. I know it killed him. I know he would have rather been out there than not. And so there's a lot that went into it. Some of it, injury related, some of it mental, some of it a combination of the two. There was a lot that went into that whole thing, that whole season. But the bottom line is, the guy wanted to play. And one of the things I judged the most, man, sort of when this all was happening was, the fans and KU Twitter and everything were melting down themselves and freaking out and criticizing him and calling him this and calling him that. And it reached the national level. I mean, you had Stephen A. calling him that. You had Kendrick Perkins calling him that. I mean, it was at a national level at one point. I think it was over All-Star Weekend in the NBA, so that helped too because they didn't have as much to talk about elsewhere. But one of the things that I always looked at, and one of the things that always meant the most to me in terms of evaluating the situation for what it really was, is the fact that Darryn Peterson's teammates weren't bothered by it at all. They loved the guy. They cared about him. They supported him. And, yeah, they wanted him out there, but it wasn't like he was some diva and they were tired of it. And it was the Darryn Peterson show, and they were just afterthoughts. I mean, he immersed himself in the culture. He cared about his teammates, and and they cared about him. And for my money, that's the kind of stuff you get drafted on. I mean, that's the kind you can play ball. Everybody can put the ball in the basket, but when you're looking to build a franchise or you're looking for a franchise type of player, like you can get at the number 2 position in the draft, to me, that's the kind of thing you want to look at. And Darren's got all that stuff in spades. He's a phenomenal teammate, and he will fit in great there.
You've touched on a couple things right there when you say phenomenal teammate. I'm curious, when the Jazz did their homework and they talked to his teammates at Kansas, what do you think they heard?
I think they heard, most likely, man, those guys probably talked about his talent because day one when he got to Lawrence and first set foot on campus as a member of the team and a student at KU, those guys were marveling at what he could do. I mean, it didn't matter if they were starters, didn't matter if they were walk-ons, it didn't matter who they were. Every time we got to talk to somebody about him, they were like, I've never seen anybody do what he does. And so as much as I think, if they dove deeper and asked him about, okay, how was he in the locker room? How was he during timeouts? How was he at the dorm and things like that? I'm sure they had a glowing review for him there too. They hung out together. They spent time together, meaningful time. It wasn't like Darryn was just here on a stopover. He's got friends here that probably aren't going to play at the next level that he'll be friends with for a long time. And he talked about that in the locker room after their loss to St. John's in the NCAA tournament. I mean, he said it meant the world to him to come to Kansas, and he's got lifelong friends and guys he's gonna be in their weddings and things like that. I mean, maybe that all sounds good, but to me, Darren's not the kind of guy that's going to say stuff just to say stuff. He's going to say what he means, and he always did. And so I think that stuff would come out, but I definitely think the first thing every one of those guys would talk about is just how freaking talented he is. It wowed them, and those were some pretty good players too. But they made it very clear from minute one that what they were seeing, what they were playing with, who this guy was unlike anything they'd ever seen.
After he was drafted, we had an opportunity to interview him on the telephone, and I asked him a question about, having motivation of not going number 1. I'm going to play you his response, and then I want you to respond to it.
Now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career, and I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Go ahead.
I love it. I saw you guys tweet that last night. I mixed it into my story actually because it's perfect. It's him. It's funny too because I asked Bill Self the same thing after the draft or after Darryn was picked. I said, is he the kind of player or person that's going to use that as motivation and fuel, being slighted and not being taken number 1 and classic Self. He said, well, first of all, I have a hard time saying that if you go number 2 in the draft, you were slighted. So I'm not gonna go there is basically what he said. But he did say, I do know the kid well enough to know that he will find and use anything out there for motivation to help him in the future. And so I love the comment. I think that's exactly right. I think that I was only around him a year and not around him a ton, but enough to truly get a feel for who he is. He's a killer, and that's not just words. That's not just a soundbite. That's not just something that he thought would sound good and make everybody laugh or smile or whatever. I think he means it. And, again, that's the Kobe comp, right? That's you could beat Kobe in a game of pool in the summer when no one else was in the bar and it didn't matter and there wasn't any money on the line and he was playing left-handed, and he would still remember that the next time he played you, and he would try to take it out on you then. Darren's not quite there yet. I do want to hesitate to completely make that comp because Kobe was one of one, I think. But Darryn is inspired by that, and he's studied that, and he wants to be that same way. And so I think that I think he means it. I think he wants to be the best at everything he does. And so throughout this point in his career, that's meant, being the best in high school. That's meant being the best in his draft class. That's meant being the best in college. That obviously didn't work out because of all the circumstances and injuries and issues that he had. But, even with that said, man, he played a lot of games where he didn't really play the second half, as you mentioned in that BYU game, and the guy still averaged 20 points a game. he was not a liability. It was an issue, and it was something they had to work through, and Self had to learn how to coach kind of two different teams, really. But man, when he was in the game, he put up numbers, and so it's an efficiency thing with him, and if he is able to stay healthy and meet that goal like he talked about last night of playing all 82 games and all of that stuff, I mean, his numbers are going to be phenomenal. But it will be that, you know, on any given night, his motivation will be, I want to show up and I want to be the best player in the gym. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if LeBron's there. It doesn't matter if Joker's there. It doesn't matter if whoever's there. You know, his goal will be to, you know, make sure he puts on enough of a show and shows people that that dude's the best player on the court. And, you know, he won't succeed every night. We know that. But when that's your motivation and that's how you're driven and that's what you want, man, it tends to produce good things more often than not. And as long as he can stay healthy and you know, be supported and be developed and continue the ride that he's on, so to speak, you know, he's just going to keep getting better. That's the crazy thing. I mean, they got a heck of a player, and there's no doubt in my mind that 2, 3, 4 years from now, he'll be even better because that's what happens. He's still young, and he's just now reaching the NBA level, and he'll have to get better to do what he wants to do there.
Matt, when you heard the whole creatine explanation for why things went so bizarrely, how did that land with you, and what did you hear when you started asking around about it? Because I bet you were asking around about it.
Yeah, it made sense in a sense, I guess. It always seemed like it was something that you know, we weren't hearing about. It always seemed like there was something else here, and obviously a lot of people jumped to the load management thing, and you know, that his agent or his camp or his family or whoever was telling him when to come out and when not to play and all that stuff. And who knows, maybe that was true. I mean, I wouldn't say that's crazy either. I mean, I think that, and I wrote this a few times too, like, I think that if it were me or my son, I probably would have handled it very much the same way. I might have been a little more transparent with it. I think that's where they kind of misstepped. I think they could have come out and said, hey, this is what we're doing and this is why. And you know, when you bring a kid up from age 4, 5, 6 all the way through middle school and high school, and the spotlight, he's been under the spotlight, and the microscope's been on him throughout that whole time. I mean, he was the best 8th grader. He was the best, 16-year-old. He was the best in his high school class, right? I mean, this has been a life's journey for him, and so they were doing all of that work, all of that extra stuff, everything he put into it to get to this level, to be an NBA player, to make it to the league. And so when you get to the point where you're 10 months away from reaching that goal, I don't think I would push any kind of injury either. I don't think I would ask my son to do that either. I mean, I think that's where it kind of became one of those things where it grew a life of its own, it being the story, because if they were protecting him, or if he was, mentally protecting himself even, I don't know that there's a whole lot of people that would complain about that, as long as you just went out and said it. And that was the issue. They didn't really say it. And so the creatine thing, sure. I mean, if that was part of it, then that kind of falls into that same category for me. Like, it would have been great to hear about that when it was all going on, back in January or whatever it would have been. So that was a little confusing to me. Having said that, though, it did make sense, because it was one of the strangest things I've ever seen, because again, I've been doing this a long time, and I've known Bill Self for a long time, and you want to talk about another straight shooter. Self doesn't say anything just to say it, and for 2 years, maybe longer, he spent any opportunity he could find talking this guy up as the most talented, best player they've ever recruited to Kansas. There were times during the 24-25 season, when Darryn was still a senior in high school, when we would have a post-game press conference or a midweek press conference with Self, and once it was over, however long, 15 minutes or whatever it was, at the end of it, if nobody brought up Darryn, or if he didn't bring up Darryn, he would say, guys, no questions about Darryn? I mean, this dude was so ready to coach this guy. And again, he doesn't just, blow guys up like that for no reason. He doesn't build the hype like that for no reason. In fact, he does the opposite. Self will be the first to downplay anybody or tear a guy down before he builds him back up and all of that stuff. So the fact that for 2+ years we heard about how great Darryn was, and then we had to watch him, show flashes of it, but also not be kind of as advertised, not quite be that guy that we had heard about for 2 years. I mean, it made me think from the very beginning that something has to be going on, because it had to be about more than just the mental side of it or whatever load management anybody wants to say or whatever that was. I mean, there had to be something that was affecting him physically and affecting his explosiveness, because I saw, enough in high school, and obviously Self saw a ton, to know that the guy we were seeing was way more cautious out there than the guy who just let it go and was trying to dunk on everybody's head and was trying to, kill the game and embarrass people in the process. We saw that on a very few occasions during his time at Kansas, but it was very limited and few and far between, and so that made me think that this has to be more than just a mental thing. I think the mental part of it was huge, but there had to be something. So it made sense to me. I know there's still people out there that don't buy it, and that's fine too. I think it's all water under the bridge now. None of it matters, right? He's reached this point, and now he kind of gets a clean slate, and I think he recognizes that. I think he realizes that, and I think knowing him the little that I do, I think he's over the moon about the opportunity to start fresh and show people who he is. And he talked about that, right? When he's talking about playing Summer League, he said, I want to show everybody that I'm back. So not only did Utah get an incredibly talented player, but they got an incredibly motivated guy too. And when you put those two things together, it's hard not to see great things in his future, and probably pretty immediately. I mean, Self said last night, when you talk about what does it look like in 10 years, he said, I think we're talking about an 8-time All-Star. So, that's incredible. I mean, there aren't very many guys that jump into the league and in their first 10 years are in the All-Star game 8 times. I mean, you guys follow the division, especially. I mean, Jamal Murray's an unbelievable player for the Nuggets. He was an All-Star for the first time this year, so All-Star stuff is a serious ceiling, and if Self's right about that, it's going to be unbelievable. And I still think he should have gone number one. There's no doubt in my mind that's who I would have taken, and that's not a knock on AJ. That's just I think Darryn is in a class of his own. I think that he you can put the ball in his hands and he can change the game and change a team immediately. And I think AJ is going to be phenomenal. He's going to have a great NBA career. I think he's an incredible player, but I think he needs help to get to that level. He's not the ball dominant playmaking kind of guy. I mean, he can make plays, but other people have to help him make plays way more than Darryn. So I can't wait. I'm going to watch a lot of Utah basketball. I'm excited to see what he looks like, and from everyone I've talked to and everything I've heard, and obviously including stuff from him last night, it seems like a great fit. And more importantly, my hat's off to him for showing genuine excitement. This isn't an act. This isn't a show. I don't think he's devastated that he didn't go one. I think that was a goal. I think he would have loved to be the number one pick just for the, add it to the resume kind of thing. But I think he sees that this Utah opportunity is a really good thing for him. And I think every time you hear him say he can't wait to be there and he's happy to be there, I think you should take that at face value, because I think that's exactly right. This guy does not say things that he doesn't mean. In fact, one more quick story as I'm rambling here. After the loss to St. John's in the second round of the NCAA tournament, we were out in San Diego and, open locker room, and some of the TV cameras were asking Darryn, well, what are you going to remember about your only year at Kansas? And he said, I don't know if it's my only year. And, of course, everybody's like, what? Come on, man. And I think a lot of people in the room and crowded around him then kind of rolled their eyes like, here we go again. Another, ridiculous thing coming out of the Darryn Peterson story. And so everybody kind of moved on and went to shoot their shots or hit their deadlines or whatever. And I circled back when the locker room was almost empty and our clock was almost out. And I sat down with him and I said, hey, why you know what saying that means? Like, why did you say that? You know that someone's going to tweet it out, and it's going to take on a life of its own, and it's going to be this whole thing. And I said, I know you're smart enough to know that saying that produces a result that's going to add more to the story. And I said, so I'm just curious why you said it. And he goes, because right now that's the truth. And I say the truth. He said, I'm going to sit down with my family and we're going to talk about what's next. And if what's next is if what's best for me is to come back to Kansas, then that's what I'll do. And if not, then I'll go pro. And I'm sure in that moment, even he knew, he had to know that the NBA was the next step. He had to know that. But I think I love that story because I think it shows that this is a guy who is, you always hear people talking about living where their feet are and being very present in the moment. And that instance and several others show that that's exactly who Darryn is. I mean, to almost to a fault. I mean, he genuinely meant in that moment, he didn't know if it was his last because they hadn't talked about it yet. So pretty cool story, pretty cool moment. And again, just a raw and real and honest dude. And I don't see him changing.
Matt, we appreciate the time and all the stories. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again.
That sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Matt Tait covering the Kansas Jayhawks for R1S1 Sports and Wave the Wheat. We got to take a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be here. Yak, do we have to evacuate? There's something going on in the building.
Not quite yet.
Oh, good. All right, so we'll be here when we come back. That's good news.
I ain't going nowhere.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome to This is Jay Scott and Ben Anderson.
Everything I have heard, Walker loves Utah. Walker wants to be in Utah. Walker's happy in Utah. Walker would prefer to end up in Utah, but he just wants as much money as possible.
He was around the team an incredible amount last year.
Yep, he was.
He was with them on the road on trips that he absolutely did not need to go to for a player that shut it down for the entire year. And he was with them at the end of the year, again, where he had even less incentive to be with the team, around the players, around the new players in Jaren Jackson Jr.
The Jazz love Walker the person. They really like Walker the player. They want him to be a part of their team. But you can't pay the wrong person too much money because then you're not building a championship team anymore. You're not building a contending team. You're just paying your dudes because you like your dudes, and that's not the job. You've got to get everybody in the right place at the right price.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
To win tickets Wednesday, caller 12 right now wins a pair of tickets to watch Leonard Skinner at the Utah State Fair September 16th. Call 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-ZONE. Caller 12 right now to see Leonard Skinner at the Utah State Fair on September 16th. You hear all those stories about the Kansas days from someone who clearly has, as he said, has an affinity, an affection for Darryn Peterson. Make you even more excited, or is that just not possible at this point after he told you he had a chip on his shoulder and wants to play all 82 games? Literally the two things you wanted to hear out of him.
Yeah, I heard, I don't know if it's true, but that he was going or got a Kobe tat. That's a player.
He said he got it on his shoulder.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I hold Kobe in high esteem as a player.
I found it a little surprising just because Peterson would have been like
Doesn't matter.
5 or 6 years old when Kobe was
but
in
it's the same thing with me with Willie Mays. I never saw Willie Mays play.
I get it, but it's still unusual. That makes you unusual, makes him unusual. I think people mostly admire the people they watch, and I just wouldn't think a 5 or 6 year old could get that attached. I know stuff's out there on YouTube and all that, but still people live in the moment. It is easier than ever, for sure.
You can watch it in HD.
Right.
I never watched Willie in HD. But I think it's awesome that that's a role model to aspire to. And if you can get anywhere near it, then wow, that's the greatest pick in Jazz history. We'll see how it develops here. But yeah, I think that he answered questions. The idea of him sitting out obviously was prevalent. And it's probably, I think, the only way he didn't go number one. Because he was targeted for number one for 3 years prior. And then it had this season
and he goes number 2. And as Bill Self said, going number 2 is not exactly a shocking disgrace. I think if you're 10 years old, hey, in 7 or 8 years, you can be the number 2 pick in the draft. I mean, we'd all go crazy over that. That would be unbelievable, right?
But you want a hyper-competitive person who's driven to win championships, and so you don't accept 2 when 1 is in reach.
All that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Now it's how you produce. And he said that I'm now an NBA player. Yep. So everything before is irrelevant. It's what you do from this moment on that will define your career. And if you go on and have a legendary NBA career, nobody gives a crap what happened in Kansas. And the Jazz were shrewd enough to do all these things to get themselves in this position, and they took advantage of it. If it comes to pass in 2045, that when he's being enshrined, that he had this phenomenal career, and that's the intent, and that's the goal. And along the way, in order to get there, you're going to have team success, presumably, and that's what it matters. And then you'll have all the money and all the accolades and everything you could possibly want.
It did cost him about $8 million dropping from 1 to 2. That is a drop in the bucket versus what he's going to earn later in his career.
Well, what he's already earning now,
yeah,
with the
the Adidas deal and the NIL money he got at Kansas, yeah. All right, DJ PK. When we come back, Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio and NBA TV contributor, joins us next to talk draft, and Darryn Peterson. Stay with us.
The celebration stops tonight. I got drafted today, but tomorrow I'm now an NBA player. So get home. I'm gonna work out until I got to report to Utah. Like I said, balls first. I'm a grinder. Like I said, Kobe's my guy, and I'm inspired by him. So I just kind of try to think, what would Kobe do right now? I think he get drafted and move on, and try to go be the best thing possible. So that's what I'm gonna do. I see a guy with number 1 on the screen up there right now, so I'm extra motivated.
Join the KSL Sports Zone at JCW's in American Fork for the NHL Draft Roundtable Friday from 2 to 6 at 580 East State Street. You hear the music, you know it's time to bring in Brian Geltzeiler once again, SiriusXM NBA radio and NBA TV contributor. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
We are doing well. How do you believe the Utah Jazz are doing after selecting Darryn Peterson?
Fantastic. Wonderful pick. Fantastic player. Has a chance to be a first-team All-NBA guy before all said and done. This is what you do when you have the number 2 pick in this draft. And I'm thrilled for the Jazz. I'm thrilled for Jazz fans. And it's going to be a very, very interesting team coming up this year, because I do think Peterson has the potential to be an immediate impact type of guy. Things are finally, after a while here, trending up in Utah.
You saw Ace Bailey play. I'm sure you're well aware of his game, and you know of Tait George because you're an NBA guy. How do you think it all fits together?
Very well. I think you're going to have a 3-guard rotation. I think Peterson can play both guard spots. I think that what you needed to do, there's going to be games with George where he's just not making shots. And he likes to take shots, as you guys well know. And I kind of compare George to a Jamal Crawford type of player. When it's going well for him, ride him. It's wonderful to have him out there. But you need to have the kind of roster that can put him on the bench when it's not going well and still function at a high level. Meet Darryn Peterson. And that's what they're able to do right now with those 3 guys in the backcourt. When George has it going well, great. You can even – Bailey's big enough and Peterson's big enough that you could play small too and have the 3 of them on the floor together. But if George doesn't have it going, you now are not necessarily at the mercy of his whims or his sometimes questionable shot selection. And I like Tait George. I don't want it to feel like I'm piling on him, because I think he's still a young player that can work some of this stuff out. And we've seen more than flashes of some brilliance from this guy. So I really do think he can play. But I love the structure of this Jazz team right now. I think that, they didn't overthink it. No one overthought it in those first 4 picks. And I got to give all 4 of those teams credit. But for the Jazz here, the chalk pick, Darryn Peterson, was the correct pick.
Everybody's focused on the offensive end of the floor. There's a half dozen guys or certainly 5 guys, maybe 6, who could score a bunch of points for them. That'll enable the coach to maybe prioritize defense, and they will have Kessler and Jackson, who combined only played 7 years ago, but they've been one of the worst teams in the league in this tanking phase. They've got to get a lot better. Do you think the fact that Peterson has chosen Kobe as the favorite player, he's getting a Kobe tat on his shoulder? AJ DeBonsa says Durant. That's no surprise, right? AJ's watched a big chunk of Durant's career, but the ages don't really line up for Kobe. Does that tell us something about Peterson, the way he's going to want to defend in the NBA?
Yeah, maybe that may. Listen, it's easy to say that and do that. I don't know that that's a clear indication, but I will give you a clear indication. And you guys know this. We've discussed this many a time. My radio partner, my close friend Sam Mitchell, coached Darryn Peterson for about 50 games over 2 summers, and knows him and knows his family very well. Any thought that Darryn Peterson does not defend well, that is not true. He will bust his butt on that end of the floor. He to me will be a very, very good defensive player. He has a ton of competitive fire. He is a quiet leader, but one of the guys off the floor, and it's very important to note that. Peterson is well-liked by teammates. I know a lot of the stories out of Kansas. I think he may have had a bad voice in his ear there, from what I understand, in terms of saying, hey, prioritize the NBA over Kansas, and maybe listened a little too much. I'm not sure I buy the creatine story or the cramping, but my point being is that everything Sam has told me, everything that I've seen, is that this guy has a chance to be a high-level defensive player in this league. So, the Kobe tattoo notwithstanding, I have a lot of confidence in Darryn Peterson as an excellent two-way player.
I think now that you're an NBA player, it's going to be up to you. Whoever you is, the individual, and we saw that. We saw that from Jalen Brunson. He's talked about they replayed when he signed. I can't do this, I can't do that, but you can't judge my heart. And Brian, I live in Utah, and I'm not really sure why I live in Utah, but I'm still a Jersey guy, and I wake up every day thinking, okay, who can I exact revenge from today? Who got under my skin, and who am I going to prove wrong? And so I had the opportunity to interview in a phone call with a couple other guys on our station, Darryn Peterson, and I asked him, what do you think about going number 2 in terms of providing motivation? And I don't know if you heard the answer, but I'm going to play it for you right now and get your response.
Now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career. And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
And that one guy in particular would be AJ DeBonsa, because he went ahead of him. Just get your reaction, because to me, that just screamed what I needed to hear.
I totally agree. But that's consistent with everything that, A, I've seen out of Peterson with what I've watched, and B, with everything Sam has told me about him. Sam describes him as a killer. And, guys, I can't stress it enough. Sam's not throwing that around about guys. We do a segment on our show every week called Unranked Mofos. And it's all based upon a YouTube rant that Sam had to an Adidas Nation 16U team that he coached that had Zion Williamson on it, Cam Reddish, Naz Reid, and Quentin Grimes. And what Sam's saying in the rant was that it doesn't matter where you're ranked. Guys are coming to take your lunch every single time you step on the floor. And he's yelling at his team in a game that they won about just generally being outworked. Sam, here's my point. Sam isn't always partial to guys that have been ranked high their entire high school career on a national level. He looks at those guys kind of with a little bit of a skeptical eye, because those are guys that act at times like they're entitled to things. Darryn Peterson, who's had his moments here at Kansas, to be fair, for the most part, does not act like he's entitled to anything. He wants to go and rip the throat out of the guy across from him. And I think he just kind of said it best from everything I understand about him. Not just AJ DeBonsa, everyone. That's how Darryn Peterson is wired. The Jazz got themselves a guy I think is going to be a very good player immediately, and not far away from being a great player in the NBA.
Well, I'm glad he added that, everyone, because he's only going to play 2 games against that guy at the most, and he's going to play 80 against everybody else at the most. So I'm glad he threw that in there. And there is this whole, because everybody here, well, not everybody, but older fans here watch Stockton and Malone, and it took them forever to get to the NBA Finals, but they got there, right? Now teams, you tank for 2, 3, 4 years, then you're on the elevator for 2, 3, 4 years, and then everyone's overpaid and they got to tear it up because they don't have enough money to keep the group together. And we're already starting to see that with the Thunder, and they're going to have to jettison some guys. How big an advantage is it going to be to have him presumably, hopefully, overperforming his rookie contract in an age when teams just don't have enough money to keep their groups together?
it's going to be enormously important under one condition. They don't spend frivolously while they have him on the rookie deal and then end up in a situation with contracts on the books that are not movable and then having to turn around and pay Peterson. The thing that happens with some teams is they forget how quick those rookie scale deals expire. And the Thunder have been very good at it. But again, now the Thunder, part of having all these first-round picks is being able to say goodbye to higher-priced guys to be able to replace them with rookie-scale deals. And I think you're going to see that with Isaiah Hartenstein and Daimara, who they drafted last night. I think that's going to be a seamless move in where essentially you're going to save $20 million a year and have Mara play the same position as Hartenstein, who I think may not be as good as Hartenstein early on, but fits every bit as well, if not better. So, but you have to be careful how you dole out those contracts. Listen, Jaren Jackson's making a lot of money, and it all leads to something that you haven't asked me about yet, but I'm going to comment on right now, which is the Walker Kessler offer, which I think Walker Kessler is absolutely insane to not put his signature on it. And I get the fact that there's teams out there that have cap space. But if I'm Walker Kessler's agent, my antennas just went up the night before the draft when you see the Nets use a chunk of their open cap space on Julius Randle and the Bulls use a chunk of their open cap space to bring in Nick Claxton. You got that cap space is precious in the second apron era. And Walker Kessler should take a look at Jonathan Kuminga and Quentin Grimes and Cam Thomas and see what they went through and use Josh Giddey as his model, who signed probably was a little bit of below market offer in terms of what he thought he was worth and what his numbers indicate, but he's locked into decent money for 5 years. The offer they made Walker Kessler is beyond fair. Matter of fact, it may be a little bit rich for what he's done with the fact that he hasn't been able to stay on the floor for the better part of 2 seasons now. Kessler is insane not to sign it. It is a great deal for him. It is a good deal for the Jazz, and it will help the Jazz stay nimble and take advantage of Peterson's rookie scale deal for the time that they have it. So I think it's really important because Jaren Jackson's making a lot of money, and I get why they traded for him. I think it was a good trade. I think he's going to help them. You got to have some guys that are making a lot of money, but Larry Markkanen's making a lot of money. Breaking the bank for Kessler is irresponsible, and here's the thing, Kessler doesn't have the leverage here. The Jazz have all the leverage.
Some talk that Austin Ainge has a real strong relationship with Jaylen Brown, and they could possibly make that move with Markkanen and then throw in some other folks and all that stuff. What do you think about that?
With this team right now, I would strongly consider it. I really would. And I love Larry Markkanen, but if you think you're that good to compete now, listen, Bailey had a good year last year, and I think he makes a big jump this year. I think Peterson's transition to the NBA is going to be pretty smooth. I look at Jackson and who he is, and yes, there's a little bit of a rebounding issue there, but is Markkanen that much better of a rebounder than Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown would come to this situation with his own team, with Austin Ainge, as you said, has a close relationship with the guy that drafted him overseeing the whole thing in Danny Ainge, and I think it would be a fantastic fit for both sides. I think it's a very interesting trade to take a look at, and I think it's the type of trade that catapults the Jazz into a playoff situation this year, potentially at that 6-7 spot with how stacked the West is. But I think it's something that moves the Jazz forward here in the short term. And again, the most important part of this, guys, there's not an enormous age difference between Markkanen and Jaylen Brown. And yeah, the Jazz may have to throw some things in here, some other assets, some other picks. They have a lot of picks. They have the luxury of that right now. And if Jaylen Brown's available, I would take advantage of that because I do think there is a little bit of a clumsy basketball fit with Markkanen and Jaren Jackson. I know we hear a lot when Markkanen can play the 3, and he can, but he has some deficiencies and some holes defensively at the 3. He's much better on that end of the floor as a 4. You don't have that with Jaylen Brown, and you guys brought it up earlier. How good can you be defensively with Peterson and Bailey and George? Bring Jaylen Brown in, you are a much better defensive basketball team.
Brown would cost, depending on the year, they both got 3 more years on their deal here, $12 to $15 million more. He is a year younger. Would you rather, and I think we can all agree Brown's an upgrade on Markkanen, But at the cost of $12 to $15 million a year, that's money you could spend to go get another player and round out your team, which if we use the Knicks as the most recent example, seems to be pretty valuable if you spend that money wisely. So when you factor that in, what would you do?
Well, so the Jazz have an advantage the Knicks did not have, which is they have guys that are in the rotation right now on rookie scale deals. And so I think the Jazz could afford to do that, take on that extra money to give themselves a guy who was a Finals MVP. And I love Larry Markin, and I am certainly not, I'm not besmirching him in any way, because I think he's a terrific player, and I think he's been great for the Jazz. He's not Jaylen Brown. He's not a Finals MVP. And he's not a guy that just showed you he can put a team on his back without much there to a 50-win season. He's done all that. And with what the Jazz have behind him with Jackson and the young guys, Bailey and Peterson, and assuming they get Kessler back at the right deal, that's a dangerous team. That's a team that can be really, really good, and it's an upgrade. And I would say for the $12 to $15 million a year more over the life of the contract, you use some of your draft picks to see if you can replenish that. Listen, the Knicks, they won an NBA championship, and I give them credit. And Leon Rose did a fantastic job there. With all that said, I don't necessarily love what he did in that draft last night. I think that they're adamant to not go into the second apron, and part of that is going to be Mitchell Robinson taking less. And I think with some of the offers in the open market to Mitchell Robinson and how valuable he is, I think it's going to have to be a lot less, and I don't know that he does it. It's a calculated gamble for the Knicks, but they could have absolutely insulated themselves from that gamble last night in getting themselves a rotation-ready player, and there were guys available there at the end of the first round when they were on the board last night that are rotation-ready at a small rookie scale deal that would have helped them navigate this second apron. So I like where the Jazz stand from that standpoint is when you have guys that you count on rookie scale deals that are going to be in your rotation and going to be meaningful parts, you don't have to break the bank for role players.
When July gets here, that tends to be trading free agent season, and that's coming up next week. Do you anticipate much news breaking as far as that goes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be active. I think, the last couple of years have been relatively quiet, mostly because teams have been capped out. You have some teams with some cap space. The Lakers are obviously going to be a team to watch closely. We talk a lot about LeBron James, but the Austin Reeves thing is going to have a major pivot. I would be shocked if the Detroit Pistons don't make some kind of significant move to get a second shot creator behind Cade Cunningham. So I think you're going to see them be very active, and they have Jalen Duren as a restricted free agent and have to make a financial decision there. So, watch the Clippers here. I think the Clippers also, ton of cap space there. They can be very active. So I think I think we're going to see a whole lot of activity, some sign and trade activity that'll take place. It's going to be a little bit of a busier free agency time than we've seen in the past. But again, more trades and sign and trade types of things than just flat out free agency signings.
What did you think of the Giannis trade with Miami? Are those two teams both still a long way away, or you think a few more dominoes follow and one of them might change their situation pretty quickly?
Well, all right. So let's talk Miami. All right. If you could tell me you're going to have Giannis on the floor in the playoffs, Miami's formidable. They are formidable as is. Now, listen, it's going to be next to impossible for them to keep both Wiggins and Norm Powell. They're going to try to. I think they need them both to be formidable. I just think they need more shooting than what they have. But I do think Miami with Giannis on the floor is going to be tough. But the other thing is this: last year he wasn't in the playoffs. The 3 prior years he got hurt in the playoffs. So is he going to be on the floor and healthy for them is a major question. Listen, the Bucks. It's a tale of two stories with the Bucks. They butchered the Giannis situation. This should have been dealt with at least a year ago, if not 2 years ago. They tried to keep a closed championship window open, running up against desperation in a way that has damaged their franchise for the next 4 years. The Lillard dead money is going to be something that haunts them in a big way, and that Turner contract with the way he played last year may not be all that tradable. So Milwaukee made a mess of this by just trying to hold on to Giannis too long and not being accepting of their fate that he was ready to go somewhere else. with all that said, they did a very good job last night. You know what? Burries was the right pick at 10. They really wanted Ament. It was no secret how fond of Nate Ament the Bucks were, and the Bucks made a calculated gamble in taking Burries, who fell to them, who they felt would be a guy that would go higher at 10, with the knowledge that the two Michigan guys were likely to go off the board in some order to Golden State and Oklahoma City, and I mean Mara and Ladenburg. And they ended up rolling the dice and getting the guy they wanted. Understand the consolation prize would have been the other one of those two. Now, I think they would have been okay with Ladenburg. I'm not sure how much they would have wanted Mara. Bottom line is it worked out for them. John Horst played that correctly. So they are trending in the right direction. I just will tell you this. Miami wasn't upset to say goodbye to Khalil Ware. And this was a guy who had sometimes would come out, be 3 of 5 from 3, 20-15 and 3 blocks, and the next day would act like he didn't want to be there. And Eric Spoelstra, people would get on Eric Spoelstra's taste for DMP coaches' decisions. The guy generally, you didn't know what you were getting in terms of him being interested in playing basketball day to day. And I know the same thing from what happened with Mike Woodson at Indiana when he had him there. So for the Heat to be able to use Ware as a lead piece in a Giannis deal was a big win. And we'll see what happens with Ware. You know, maybe Ware being the centerpiece on a bad team ends up being better for him and he's more engaged. I don't know. But listen, Milwaukee's got a long way to go, and it didn't have to be this way for the Bucks. They stretched this thing out a lot longer than they ever should.
Brian, we will leave it right there. Folks can hear you on SiriusXM NBA Radio and see you on NBA TV. And we love having you on. We will talk to you again when free agency gets crazy. How about that?
It will be my pleasure, gentlemen. I'll talk to you guys soon. You take care. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, everything you missed in this show, which is mostly draft, and more draft. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
With the second pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Darryn Peterson from the University of Kansas.
Now I'm with the Jazz, and I'm super excited to get there. And it'll definitely keep a chip on my shoulder throughout my whole career. And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Slacker Red Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com.
I know what he feels, man. You've got to find motivation. Like yesterday when he didn't know that I was listening down at JCW's and Christian called me long-winded, I'm going to take it out on him.
How long can you not fire you up for? 82 games?
You've worked with this guy for almost 25 years. You know how long this can last.
I have a segment to fill, and right now, I don't need help from you. Later on, I may well. But right now, I got this under control. It's 11 minutes till break. That was going to be good radio.
Well, that was good radio, though. That was a good, pertinent comment.
I've been with you for 12 years. I have an idea here.
Well, 82 games is April, so at least until April.
Yeah, about 100 games would be good.
100 would be good, yes.
I think they'll make the postseason. And, I mean, Kobe's this guy, right? And that's great. What a ball player. Mm-hmm. And so then Kobe, his rookie year, is shooting the air balls across the street. That carried him for a decade. That stung. Even with the titles, it still stung. I don't think it ever didn't sting. It stuck with him. And you have to have something now because everybody's a pro. Everybody's making outrageous money, most likely relative to what they grew up in. And you've got to have stuff out there that's going to make you the very best. And it can't be what you used to do. Because Kobe talked about this, that he felt it was clear the air balls were because of lack of strength. He didn't have the strength to withstand what was going to happen during the season and playoff because he had never been in that situation. So he internalizes it. Why did it happen? Here's why it happened. Now I got to go lift. I got to work out. I got to do all these things to make sure when that situation arises that I have the physical strength to be able to withstand the long season and playoff run, right? And so he went about it. Here's my problem. How do I correct it? And then obviously he did it at an extremely high level. And this kid he's going to face similar. And how are you going to do it? There's going to be some type of failure his rookie year. It just can't be all sunshine and roses his rookie year. There's got to be something there that isn't right. And what are you going to do about it? Yeah, I'm fired up for the young man. Absolutely. He said exactly what I wanted to hear, which is why I asked the question.
Matt Tait covered Kansas Jayhawks for R1S1 Sports and Wave the Wheat. He joined us earlier this morning. Talked about Peterson. You played the bite for him and also for Brian Geltzeiler, who just joined us. You want to hear their reactions to that? Wherever you get your podcasts.
I mean, I don't want to hear how excited is he, because I already know that.
KSLSports.com, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever.
He's going to be way excited.
Everybody, not just that guy in particular.
Play that again. I talked over it.
And I'll take it out on everybody, not just that guy in particular.
You, and you.
Yeah, they're sitting in Memphis going, well, we'd have taken you if you were on the board. What are you mad at us for? But that's what Jazz fans want to hear. It doesn't have to be rational. If the only thing that fires them up is playing AJ DeBonsa, well, that's only 2 games a year. You got 80 more.
We saw it last winter. Oh, he just happened to have a phenomenal first half that was punctuated by a dunk over 5 guys' faces.
But that was just dumb luck. Or he wanted to be the number 1 pick and he was playing BYU and AJ DeBonsa.
Right. Coincidence.
Right.
I'm sure.
But then he sat out the last 15 or 18 minutes or whatever it was.
Well, they won.
They did?
Yeah. And
I've done enough. You guys bring it home.
Yeah. I want to kick back. I want to ruin my NBA situation. So away you go, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. To me, that was the most pertinent response that he gave all night, and he did a night full of interviews.
But he's checked a lot of boxes and said a lot of stuff along the way. Something about the Utah guys, I think I could really fit
really
with him.
Good too.
That's a quote that he dropped to his agent shortly after the Combine talk.
Yeah, I asked him 2 questions. The second one was about the team, and it's like he had the roster in front of him. He knew all about it. Clearly, he knew this was going to happen, and he was prepared for the moment, and he responded. Now, it's just talk, and you got to go play.
It's all he can do the night of the draft. But the go play part, July 4th, Saturday afternoon.
Oh, there will be fireworks.
Fireworks in the Huntsman Center before you go to your favorite fireworks show. Double the fireworks.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. He's gonna light my fire.
July 4th, 6th, and 7th at the Huntsman Center.
I can't be there the 6th and 7th.
Call Chris Barney and get your tickets now.
I can't do that.
Oh, really?
I will be in Texas.
Big 12 Media Days. Mm-hmm. Duty calls, stories overlap.
Yeah. I'm thinking about cutting out around 3, maybe 4 at the Star in Frisco and chartering to get back so I can be here.
Have Ryan send you a plane.
Oh, yeah, I mean, let's see.
Okay.
I don't want to be beholden to them.
Okay.
He lights my fire.
He does. Clearly.
Yeah.
You know that it would be untrue.
Don't want to be untrue.
I don't want to be a liar.
No lying.
No.
If I was to say to you,
Darryn,
come on, Darryn, light my fire. Come on, Darryn, light my fire. Come on, Darryn, light my fire.
Yeah. The time to hesitate is through.
Fire!
Fire!
Now that he's got to bring in a couple more guys, round out this roster, give the coach enough guys that this is the old Steve Cleveland quote. It was probably true 40 years ago. You heard it 20 years ago. It's true today, and it'll probably be true in 20 more years. Pablo will come on when RSL starts playing next month and say, competition. That's what drives guys. They got to look over their shoulder playing time. They got to look over in basketball and see the bench and think, I got to defend right now. Or are they going to send this guy? And coach always snaps when I don't defend.
Yeah, I think it was almost 30 years ago now because Steve Cleveland, I think there was 70, 97, 98.
You're right. It would have been, yeah.
Was his first.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me the thing that drove him nuts is that everybody knew in his first team or two he had to play the guys he had to play because the other guys weren't good enough and there wasn't competition and everybody knew it. And so, in a sense, his hands were tied. Well, once he got the program up and running, then it was you gotta be scratching and clawing for PT.
Ace Bailey and Darryn Peterson and County George can keep each other accountable. Don't be the worst defender. That'll put your butt on the bench. And if they're all three excellent defenders, Ace can play some three. So I think it's totally possible to get them out on the floor.
For sure. I think so.
If they decide that's the way they want to go. Or if the players just demand it. Play that well, they don't want to take you out because you're lighting it up. You're on fire.
Go on,
Darryn, light my.
Well, yeah, the opportunities are there for all of these guys to play, and even the younger guys who've now taken a little bit more of a back seat as the talent has increased. They have opportunities to have roles, and the four guys, I guess, jump out to us. Would be Cody Williams, but man, he might be way back in the pack. But what are you going to do about it, Cody? Yeah. And then also, obviously, Filipowski, Collier, and Sensabaugh.
Yep.
What are you guys going to do about it, man? You want to be in the league. Here's your opportunity.
They got 6 really good players, but 6-man rotations aren't the way to go. You're going to need an 8 or 9 player rotation. And guys are going to miss games. Right. So guys 10, 11, there's still a way to get on the court and then expand your role from there. Do they go out and get a center?
A backup
center and a veteran guard to put in the rotation. And are they good at that point?
Oh, I think they would be good at that point. I don't necessarily know that I have a strong, absolute must belief in getting a veteran guard.
If they want to win the playoffs, I think they better do it. I do get the logic of not doing it and riding with these guys and let them play.
Well, everything
you got
is money
3 and Collier's
too.
the 4th guy.
What's it going to be? And you got the Mahaliuk, however you say his name. He has been around.
Svi Mikhailuk.
He has been around for a good while now.
And Austin Ainge mentioned him.
Yeah. I'm not going to count him out.
And mentioned Conchar also, so it's possible that those are their guys. I don't think Austin was just randomly throwing names out there. Could have been a little signaling going on.
Well, you don't want to bury guys now. Let them know there's a lifeline. Hey, and if you bust it and play well in the role that Will Hardy has assigned you, you have a spot on our team.
They have 10 guys under contract. Peterson would be 11. If Kessler signs, that's 12 guys, and there's still 3 spots left. Because I'm counting Svia's signed for this year, and Conchar also.
Oh, maybe those are the guys.
And I think Conchar showed pretty well. He's 30. He'll be in a contract year. You tend to get really good seasons out of people in a contract year because
money's down the line.
He'll want a deal in 27, 28.
Of course he will.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the Lion King here, man.
Yak, you got some breaking news for the people as we recap the show? What do you got?
Yeah, so we've been talking about Darryn Peterson and him wanting to be Kobe being his idol. Well, the guy they call Hillbilly Kobe, Austin Reeves, he is signing a 4-year, $185 million maximum contract to stick with the Los Angeles Lakers, an average of $46.25 million annually.
Undrafted to $46 million.
Started out as a two-way guy, yeah.
He went from Hillbilly to Hancock Park, Austin Reeves.
Hancock Park. Local LA knowledge there.
That is upscale Beverly Hills.
Right. Can live down with the little people in Beverly Hills, please.
Yeah.
So he cashed in big time.
Oh, hey, that guy had to bust in and work for it, man. You just don't roll out the ball and show up.
Do the Lakers have enough money to round out the roster? Should Jazz fans celebrate that? Because there's plenty of speculation.
Were they going to get anybody better than him?
No, I don't believe they were going to get anybody better than him. I guess we don't know. But I think it's more a depth question. Like now, are guys 5, 6, 7, 8 good enough, or have you put all your money into your top 2 or 3 players?
Depth is a shrinking deal in the NBA. I think you might look into the Jazz and have an exception because they had all these draft picks that they were able to get from the trades, and so they've got some serviceable dudes on cheaper contracts. And, what can the Lakers do there? Because it doesn't seem like the guts of their team was acquired via draft.
Mm-hmm. It just comes down to the last 3 teams standing, the Knicks who won it, and the Thunder who they beat, they beat the Spurs, and the Spurs beat the Thunder, and those 3 teams had 1 player combined over $40 million. Stars are getting a lot of money, and you scream every single time, like, he's good, but he's not that good. And in the current cap era, the numbers are different if you go back, 10 years or whatever, or even 5. But how often does a $30 million player get paid $40 or $50 million bucks?
Well, it does seem he's overpaid relative to his ability.
That is the question with exactly.
I've accepted that. What are they going to do?
But
they're in win now mode. The old man will be 42. So, you can't be cautious on everything.
It's not about caution. It's about being prudent. Like, you got to get him as a number.
Thing. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do? Let him go and be worse? That's going to fire up LeBron to re-sign with the Lakers.
Yeah, they can't let him go.
Right.
And you can't get your Jalen Brunson to take less. Because you were right about Brunson's argument. Like, Brunson's taking a bow for giving up $100 million, but he was never going to see 50 of it anyway. 50 of it was going to go to the federal government. It was going to go to however many states they play in over the course of the year, and in some cases, cities. These guys are paying taxes all over the place. He's going to lose half that money. Can you make that argument to somebody? Dude, just come in at 36. It's still more money than you ever spend.
California?
And I need the $10 million. I know. It's a harder sell. But New York with their taxes. Brunson did it in New York City. And you're right. It would be easier. But if I say Florida, then you're going to go, the tax argument again.
Well, you brought it up. The Lakers didn't get a fair shot. Doncic was down.
Yeah.
So if they get to the NBA Finals and win it, then it was worth every penny.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So you got to roll the dice, man. You just can't sit on your hands thinking, "Oh, man,
but rolling the dice might be talking him into it.
This is bad." Then it regroup. They're going to have to regroup when LeBron retires anyway, and then they'll have a big fat amount of money when he goes.
A big fat amount of money.
They'll have tons of gazillions of money.
You picture a cartoon, it's like it's just a bunch of really fat $100 bills walking around with legs on them. Yock?
You do, I don't.
Big fat. I know. That's why I asked Yock. I know you don't.
Why?
Yock might.
Yock's loaded too?
Right. As a radio producer.
No, it's about picturing the cartoon.
You got to be bold, man. You can't. You worry about what are all the downsides. All right, what are they? They're there. But what about the positives? They're there too. Don't make me rooting for the Lakers.
Why not? You're rooting for the Dodgers. What the heck?
Because I'm a baseball guy.
That doesn't even make sense.
Well, no, it doesn't.
LA teams.
Yeah, but I've never really had a favorite NBA team. Except now that Darryn Peterson is here.
Just root against all LA teams all the time. It's the right thing to do. It's how I was raised.
I know, but then you criticize me because I lived in the New York area and I didn't root for any of those teams. Now I root for one of those teams. Well, we're supposed to root against them. What is it? You got me coming and going.
It's supposed to be the team you grew up with. It's supposed to be the New York teams. And I went to college with a New Yorker, and he kept rooting for New York teams when he went to L.A.
I know, but I wasn't wired that way.
Yeah, okay.
I like sports. I didn't necessarily like teams. What's wrong with that? I like sports. I like all the sports.
We'll try to figure that out in the break. We'll come back with your feedback next. Stay with us. Join the KSL Sports Zone tomorrow from 10 to 6 live at Kenny J's Barbecue at the District in South Jordan. 11610 District Drive. Time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? A lot of you weighing in on Darryn Peterson. Darryn, it is. Sound off. What do you have to say now? Bobby Bucket says the Jazz just drafted a future Hall of Famer. Best case scenario right there. Well, I guess best case scenario would be a 10-time NBA champion. Go best case. But that's a good case right there. Get the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, from the fan perspective, it's to win it all. And I want the player perspective, too. And, try as hard as you can. If you come up short, so be it. But that should be the goal.
Kelly says last year was unwatchable, and this year could be very entertaining if we can stay healthy.
Well, the concept of last year is over. So Austin said we're done tanking.
Thankfully, it continued 1 year. Now they're done tanking. And if you would have told me that you could end up with Darryn Peterson as a result of the tanking of the 25-26 season, I would have said full steam ahead. And here we are.
Brett says, Peterson genuinely seemed happy on the phone call with the Jazz afterwards, so I'm happy. That's all it took.
Well, I think that,
PR.
They were able to explain what they're about, and that's what I believe in. You hear so many times, Kyle used to say this about the misperception of Utah. If we can just get him on campus, we got a good shot. Okay, well, metaphorically, they got him on campus, and now he's ready to go. And let's not worry about what's going to happen in 5-6 years down the line. That's ridiculous.
Craig, start winning and all. Start paying attention. Craig speaks for a lot of people. Well, we think they're about to. We'll see. They gotta finish the roster.
I think he speaks for a few. Because I think that fans, there's a difference between paying attention and watching. I think the hardcore Jazz fans, which are millions.
And that's why we got the
so
wire.
They may not have watched, but they knew what was going on. Now they're going to watch.
So just edit this. Start winning and I'll start watching.
Yeah, right. And then you'll be in. And you'll know tonight's game starts at 8:30 because they're playing on the West Coast against the three California teams, right? One of the three. And then, and you're going to make sure you're going to watch. Whereas before, the last few years, well, if you had something to do, you didn't really sweat it because you knew likely the outcome. Now we're back to the future.
Jared, Jazz will be hard to play against. We are so back.
Oh, well, if I'm a fan, that's what I think too.
And he's getting thumbs up and heart emojis. Loving it.
Right.
Kyle, though, is not. I'll bet Peterson never sees 60 games played in one season in his career.
Ooh.
Wow, his goal is 82 year one. If he doesn't get to 60, that'll be a massive disappointment.
Agreed. Unless we see something that is obvious, and then I don't know that I could hold him accountable.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. I just thought of a couple scenarios. Why speak that into existence?
Right. But if we see it,
none of us
will understand it.
None of us watch sports to watch injuries. That's why that Homer Simpson bit was...
Of course not.
So hilarious.
I don't even want, if I had a team I rooted against, I wouldn't want them to be injured. Let them play, and it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be out there balling, golfing, whatever the sport is, and away you go.
Josh says Ben Simmons 2.0. No.
Well, Ben Simmons couldn't shoot, and it's just a mystifier as to why he went so dang high.
Number one pick, and LSU, I mean, he's in SEC school, he's number one pick, and they don't make the tournament. It's not like a really good player is at a smaller school. He doesn't have enough around him. It's a one-big league.
I can up that. The Big 12 is better than the SEC. And
they went Sweet 16.
Right, but DeBonsa didn't win a tournament game.
That's true. But nonetheless, he got in. And Simmons didn't get his team in.
Well, Peterson didn't go Sweet 16, did they?
I thought Kansas did. Didn't they lose Sweet 16?
I thought they lost in the second round to St. John's in San Diego.
Oh, so they missed Sweet 16.
Yeah. But, I mean, Ace Bailey didn't even make the tournament.
And didn't go number one.
And
that's right.
They Rutgers have a losing record also?
He and Harper, that was brutal.
They played in the Big 10. So you got to be careful on that because ripping Ben Simmons, you're also ripping Harper and Ace Bailey.
I think when I drop down to top 5, I can find a lot more players, but I just don't think many number ones miss the tournament.
Okay, 2 and 5, one position.
I think top 5. The 2 you got me on.
I think you got caught.
On the 2, yes, but not on the 5. I think top 5 I can find guys who didn't make the tournament.
I don't care.
Give me something to do for the rest of the day. All right, DJ PK, we're out of time. Well, it's not the commercial break.
Go home to Honey and talk about the golden years, how they're going to be so beautiful. Plan a little romance in your life. Take her out. Go buy a bouquet. It doesn't always have to be Valentine's. The non-special occasion means even more. There, I just help you. Now report back tomorrow.
Scott Gerard and Tim Lacombe next on The Zone. Stay with us.